Hey everybody, welcome to the evening show. We are going to be at the East Hollywood Neighborhood Council and the Central Hollywood Council. We're going to do the Central Hollywood first, and here's the link to the Zoom. Hey Cricket, how you be? How you be? Here's the Central. It's at 9 o'clock. And the other one's at 10 o'clock. So let's see. Open link in new tab. Join from the browser. Let's see if we can get it. We'll join here. They're not done yet. And then let's go to another one. Open link in new tab. And we're going to launch meeting. I always forget the pretty sure the Central, the one that's 6 or 9 our time, is the blue building. I'm doing great, Cricket. How are you doing? I told Audit we'd stream tonight. Oh goodness, so she could take it and steal. I'm definitely in the tired mode though. I could fall asleep. Let's see. There, that way we can watch to make sure. What have you been up to tonight, Cricket? Oh, nice. Did you have an accident in your car? I did not know that. I'm hoping you're okay. Good. I'm glad it was just a small accident, no injuries. It's amazing how expensive body shops are though nowadays. You're watching every stream? I was watching a little bit earlier. a few of them, but I need to I need to stay uplifted. I was watching T. I still have her streaming on the other browser. I think she's still streaming on the other browser. Yep, they're still talking. Hey, Peter. How are ya? How did your day go? Wondering if Audit's going to be there or if she's just going to be online. I should text her. Audit, where you be? Jamie's being a butt today. Well, uneventful is the best thing. Oh yeah, Jamie Mustard. He's such a butt. Oh, he hates being online he hates going online. And he's so extroverted, so I don't know why. But he was complaining about him and Daniel. And Daniel's so demonstrative. He's just woo, woo, you know? It just cracks me up. I felt kind of bad because when I was talking to him, he's like, I don't want to do this. And I said, well, just tell him you don't want to do it. But they're brothers, so, you know, it's hard to not watch brothers. Right. But then he started picking on him. Hey, little Miss Audit, there you are. We're still waiting for him to come on. Okay, I'm gonna ask. This is Blue, right? Okay, I thought so. Thank you, Cricket. I always, every single time I watch him and he starts lighting his cigarette, I just see the flames and the smoke coming off from his beard. I'm like, no, don't get it too close to the beard. It's gonna get singed. Yeah, that's just crazy sauce. But you can just tell they're brothers because they just pick on each other like brothers do. It is cute. Okay, Central Hollywood, let's get the ball rolling. Oh, ouch. That's not good, Cricket. Hey, Ganja. Yeah, I'm surprised if we don't lose power still tonight. It's been flashing all day. We've had a really good windstorm going on up here. You, I see you, buddy. No, no, no. Get off my computer. Yeah, I see you. Why do you gotta do this at night? Really? Really? Nobody wants to hear you. Nobody wants to hear you breathing. Yeah, the wind's been crazy up here too, Ganja. Get off my lap. You're too big to be on my lap. Get off the computer. You don't give me no side eye. Go away. He's huffing like he's got his feelings hurt. I heard his fifis. I bet you they don't have many photographs as kids. But I mean, those of us with siblings, you kind of understand that because it's hard to see it's hard to see my brothers and sisters as professionals as adults because they'll always be the little shits that drove me nuts. Yeah, it's like 40, 50 miles an hour up here, Gus. No, no, no. I didn't say Grizzly. I said Gus. Go away. Go away. Don't be a dick. Damn it, dog. Stop. Go lay down. We can snuggle later. He's like, it's bedtime, Mom. Oh, here we go.
Hi, everyone. We are just waiting for our other board members to arrive. Thank you for your patience and enjoy the show.
Okay, Atlas, I'm doing ABCs. You gotta entertain the folks. Say A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E, H, I, J, N, Q, S, T. Is the bathroom open?
No, because they rekeyed the locks and I don't have the new keys.
Oh, they rekey them?
Yes.
Are all the locks?
All the our office key is the same, but all the other locks are.
When do we get a copy? Or do we get a copy?
I asked, today, when I found out that they'd rekeep them.
The front one, repeat.
Yeah,
And our office is still the same.
our office is still the same.
And the same front door probably.
Correct.
Well, goddamn. You asked him, I feel like someone's being.
I haven't said that in the car.
No, I probably need a bath like a dog.
That like. I have to take it. That's okay, not too close. Not too close. Not too close.
Something.
Atlas, careful with your step, buddy. Atlas.
Unfortunate.
Careful, your feet, okay. Atlas, let's go.
Yes.
So who's our friend Errol?
I don't know.
Do we know anybody?
Yes.
You know Errol? Oh, so you got him to sign up?
I mentioned it to him and he said he knows you, like he's got some really, he's interested in working with you on your world peace, concept.
Oh,
Yeah, he has some, really good ideas about just, community engagement. He'd heard about your world peace initiative. You know, kind of everything that you're doing, that Daniel's doing, so.
Hey,
wants to
Twyla.
get-
Hey, Sir
that's
Minto.
exciting. I love that. I love that. I'm so glad.
Right?
Hey,
I'm so glad. You know, ideally, we get the engagement without spending $5,000. You know, because if we spent $5,000 last time to do
There's
that,
sunshine.
and there was 12 people running, I think if we brought like one person, then we'd have enough.
Yeah.
Or like, it'd be even better result than spending $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Tamara? Get some extra-
I know it's choppy, you guys, but how is the
I
volume?
think that's 5.
Cheers, huh?
I'm gonna sit right here in the corner. Check if this is. So put that over here we go.
Oh,
Probably move it a little bit closer.
I think the choppiness is coming from them, you guys. But is the volume okay?
Everyone's so dressed up today. What, y'all coming from job interviews?
This is the memo.
Guess so.
I think we should always come a little bit dressy, but I don't think I'm dressy right now, but I'm feeling. You know, a sweater goes a long way. Hey, Erica, what up? Yeah, this is the rare time in Los Angeles where we get to wear it's cold outside clothes.
Right?
yeah, exactly.
So what, like 75?
We are such weenies.
Snowing. Yes, every time I go over there during the summer, I get a headache.
Well, I would,
It's just I'm not used to it.
it's not the weather, my dear, it's the manure. I know Fresno. I drive through Fresno every once in a while. Yeah. You can't forget that part of it.
Terrible thing to be.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fresno. I'm sorry you stink, Fresno. We're pretty lucky. I mean, our air quality is kind of shot, but you know, I'm still breathing. Like a glutton. I breathe like a glutton. I think our friend Eric Hall sent somebody here from the park.
Yeah.
You're a rat. You're a park guy. What's your name there? Susanna.
Okay, nice.
Do I see you sometimes down there?
Yeah, I'm there for soccer, baseball, basketball.
Oh,
Right in the-
amazing.
You're on-
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
One second,
that's what
guys.
I thought.
Hey, Bruchacho, I'm in the middle of a neighborhood council meeting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is not the blue, you guys. This is the
No,
info
you
center.
guys can still come. We haven't get started yet, but you guys can totally
This
come
is the
by, say hello to
testing
the
center.
board, and you guys don't have to stay the whole time, but if you guys wanted to just stop by, see what it's like.
I hope our pizza order makes it today.
And we're gonna have some pizza here, so
We shall see.
next one is in a month.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a once a month
How
meeting.
about yourself? Doing, okay, all right. Good.
No worries.
Thanks for the reminder there.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
go about the having to do the gosh, the
Fine. That's okay, no worries. There's no pressure.
things.
See you when I see you.
Drawing a blank, but finally got that out of the way over the weekend.
Oh, look at that. Slow White's in town. Nice.
This is, one of the first days, we haven't been doing something directly related to fires, so. Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah,
It's down
it's still, we're still the full bodies every day, like.
Wow.
So that's still.
A lot of people died? Did a lot of people?
Excuse me, like police officers, they pulled from all over the city.
Thank God. Thank God it's that way, not the other way that I was thinking.
Yeah, I think that's not good either.
Yeah. Is there significance? Is that for the passing of this officer who was here? Is that in his honor?
She can give us some plates because Joe's didn't give us any.
It's a lot, but
Here?
in our office.
Oh,
But
I guess if she doesn't mind.
Let's say happy birthday, Alvina.
Oh, thank you. Another year.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Related.
Do we have a quorum? Five
No,
quorum?
5, yeah, we're here. But you know, Crystal is still on the way, right? And then we would be. That's it.
Did Daniel said he was gonna be here?
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask about. Anything?
I don't know. I didn't hear from him.
I did ask, but maybe.
No word.
No. 6:10, not too bad. Thanks to you and your setup.
let's record in 3, 2, 1.
Recording in
Action.
progress.
All right, we are ready for our meeting. This is our first of the year of 2025. This is Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council. And we're at 6501 Fountain if anybody wants to come over because we got Joe's Pizza, which is in district. And help yourselves if you're here. The plates are coming. We'll start with a roll call. I am present. Daniel Perez.
Present.
Charles.
Here.
Nye is absent. Shawnee is absent. Sunshine.
Here.
Tamara. Here. And then Daniel and Crystal, I haven't heard from, so they might be popping in a little later. Who's gonna take our minutes? Because Daniel usually does them.
I guess I can do it.
Is that cool?
Mhm.
So, for now, just write that, we got 4 absence at the moment.
Okay.
But if you, I'll kind of remind you, but at the time that they come in, just mark the time of their arrival. Super. Okay, we'll get started. We'll just do and set calendar. Why don't we just start with government representatives? Okay, we'll start with government representatives in attendance. And then I know Anais is going to be online. Perfect. And she brought a friend. Anais, you want to go first?
Just promoted her to.
And Carlos is with her. Hello.
Hi, could everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm camera off. Once I get to my house, I'll be camera on. But hi everyone, happy new year. I know we're a month in and a lot has happened. Just wanna give a update. I think the newest update when it comes to council members agendas, he is now part of the new committee, the new ad hoc committee he just joined. I think it's wildfire and wildstorm that has opened up since the fires. I think part of this new ad hoc committee is about rebuilding and also tying in workforce. As we all know, so many workers have lost their jobs, and so those are the primary focus in those two. Rebuilding, there's a workforce development in that, and as well as I think, if I'm not mistaken, as well as better preparedness for emergencies. Our office has been in several efforts in regards to the fire. I think 2 weeks ago, we were helping Tracy Park's office and, with donations and other, the items that they needed. So we've been part of those efforts. I know in longer terms, there are going to be more ways where people could continue supporting anybody affected by the wildfires. But yes, so that's us now in regards to the fire section. We also in regards to, I know there's I know last year, I forgot, I think right before the new year ended, we approved a motion for discretionary funds for street lighting. Unfortunately, um, BSL has not gone into our neighborhood to fix some of these expedited, even though we already paid them. So we're hopefully we've been in the talks, and it looks like their crews will start focusing in CD13, possibly like mid this month. So we'll keep you as updated. But my biggest thing is that I have two running streets with Bureau Street Lighting and our with Bureau Street Lighting, where we identify all the street lights, but they do require me to add through run ones. So if you do have street lights right now, I would best suggest if you send them over to me ASAP, and that way I can continue having those in the running document that we have with Bureau Street Lighting in regards to this ongoing issue. It's one of our biggest issues, as well as all the other ones we have to deal with when it comes to you know, sidewalks and tree trimming. But so yeah, that's with BSL. Our office is gonna start conducting several Know Your Works workshop at this moment. Looks like we'll be having our first one with the Boys and Girls Club. Further details I will have as I get them. I know it's gonna be sometime in February. Well, I mean, February's already starting, so we're probably looking like maybe the 5th or around the 6th, around that week. And so when I have that, I will share internally with all my community. I don't know if we're gonna make it super public, in the sense, because we have heard several concerns that a lot of folks are a little bit nervous in attending some of these things. So we'll try to make it as safe as possible, and make it as much as we don't get the eye attention as much, but we understand what we do understand the general sentiment. So there's more to come in that one, as it's been like a request we have received from schools, and community members in the area. Um, I think I don't know if Carlos Castro is on, my colleague. Carlos Castro has just joined our office, so he's our homeless deputy. And so he will probably, if you have questions in regards to the homeless count, I know he has them more. I do want to flag that in March, I mean, I know it's already January, but I do want to give a heads up. March 14, 15, and 16, I know it's going to be high impact traffic in the boulevard, on Hollywood Boulevard. Just wanted to flag and kind of give that out there. There's gonna be multiple events. One of them is actually a fundraiser for cancer and I believe wildfire. So it's on Saturday. I'll send out more details to Elvina and Daniel so they could share. And then on March 16th is the marathon. So just you could already mark it in your calendar. Just be like, stay away from Hollywood Boulevard on that weekend specifically. Um, I know it could get a little bit tricky, but I'm trying my best to get the word out there before people, reach out our office and things like I didn't know. But if you can mark it on the calendar and kind of put high impact that day, and I'm happy to share the events that are happening those days. So that's what I have on my end. Um, and then if you have any community projects that Central is focusing on this year, please send me an email, because I think there is I don't want to promise anything right now, but there are ways that our office could support at this moment. Or it looks like we can. So if you could just give me a nudge on like these what these events look like. If it's the summer movie nights, that I know that was a big one, but just send me an email. I think on my end that's it, and I will pass it on to Carlos.
Hi everyone, sorry. My name is Carlos. I'm the new homeless deputy for City 13. Am I allowed to drop my information on the chat so you guys can always feel free to call me or email me? regarding any encampments in your nearby locations.
Enabled, Carlos, but if you send your information to elvina@chnc.org, we can distribute it amongst them.
Sounds great. I will do that in the next 5 minutes or so after I stop speaking. But yeah, like Anais mentioned, the homeless count is going to be February 18th through the 20th. And I believe the closest location up to you guys, I don't know if it's within the district, it's the Hollywood. Yeah, the First Presbyterian Church, yes. And I believe that one's on the 18th of February. I don't have much to add on. It's I'm fairly new, but if you guys do have any concerns or anything, always feel free to reach out to me. I am doing my best efforts with the tracking all encampments and connecting folks to resources.
Thanks, Carlos. Any board comments?
I got a question for Miss Anais. Would you like to go first, Tamara?
Yeah, I know that Councilmember Hernandez is introducing legislation to in the aftermath of the fires to implement a rent freeze and eviction moratorium for through the next year. I believe that they're voting on that tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm announcing it because I'm sure stakeholders would want to weigh in on, voicing support for a rent freeze over the next year.
Yes, they are voting on that tomorrow. So yes, you're right. They are voting on that tomorrow. I've been debriefed very minimal on it, but from what I know, it's just a rent freeze. There's been cases where some of the workers that worked in these specific areas are concerned that they can't, pay rent because they lost their jobs. That includes the nannies, the gardeners, valet folks, restaurant workers that were in these areas. And so I know there's been a lot of that concern, which is what, tackling the rent freeze. It's a rent freeze per se. I do know that in years to come, or like when the rent freeze is lifted, and I don't know exactly how, it's for a year, I think. But the idea is that, it's a rent freeze. So at some point in time, they're probably still gonna have to owe what they I haven't done much of that detail, but yes, if stakeholders have issues like concerns or inquiries on that, I'm happy to connect them with the legislative team. And again, if because and I'm sure you've seen like in the news and in other places that there is a constant price gouging. And so if you do report that, please report it if you know people who have been affected of the fires and they've noticed a lot of price gouging. I think it's not supposed to go past 10%, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the cap.
Yeah.
But yes, they vote on it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Cool, I got one. Ms. Anais, you mentioned supporting events, and I'm curious of how can we work together? The event we're planning for the summertime is going to require a stage, and I think District has a stage. Could we get a stage? Can you help me get a stage? I
could I could help you facilitate that stage request. We usually contract with AAA. The city has a contract with AAA special events, and or not, there's also like the GSD special event stage. So, if you could, as the month, I would give like a month in advance, or even 2 months and 2 months and a half advance with the details and like how big you want the stage and things like that.
Awesome. So talk to you. So, okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to you and I'll deliver the vision, and then you'll support me with your.
We'll like just like the dimensions, how tall you want it, and that and stuff like that. But just for general knowledge, stages, tables and chairs, and porta potties are like the quick fix of the is the quick fix. It's sort of like the fastest thing that we could support immediately. The rest of it, it could be a little bit more, heavy lifting. But tables and chairs and porta potties, and anything that we have contracted with or provide or special events, it's a lot more easier.
Amazing. So you're saying what you can help with is a stage?
Yeah, we can help with the
chair,
stage. Yeah.
table, and porta
Porta potties. Yes.
and everything you need. And the other question is, what is going to be the cost to the neighborhood?
No, you and we could talk internally to see the cost. We usually, when it comes to tables and chairs and stages, we're able to usually cover we're usually able to cover that part. But
Well,
we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk internally because sometimes we have to sometimes I have a internal budget that we work with. So we, as the days comes, we'll play around. We'll work on, if we could just fund all the stage tends to be the most expensive part. The tables and chairs, stage always tends to be a lot more expensive, depending on the dimensions, and the tables and chairs are the more feasible. So, if the stage is the one that you really need, then, we'll work on getting the stage.
Come on, people.
Yeah, stage for sure. And then the only other question is in terms of getting insurance for the event and the security.
Insurance?
Don't we need insurance? I mean, we need insurance.
It depends what you're doing. If it's on the street, yes. If it's on the street, on the public, yes. If you're doing it in a private entity, then we don't really provide insurances for that. You would have to speak with the stakeholder in that case when it comes to insurances and security. Is usually, it's at the rec center.
We're doing it at the rec center, Hollywood Rec Center.
Then that's city. So if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think you need an insurance. I think they waive it. You might have to talk to the rec. But for example, if and security, that's usually something that I've not been familiar that council offices support, but tables and chairs, I know for sure that's usually the no-brainer that we usually work with, that we usually help out.
Okay, and last one for me. When's a good for me to give you a shout via phone call? I'd love to be able to tell you a little bit about the vision for this event and what the intention is, and that way you jive out. You know what I'm saying?
No, that works. Sunshine, can you either email me? Let's see. I think I could do a quick phone tomorrow actually, towards the end of the day, like 3:00. Just shoot me a text right before you call me, just to make sure I'm not on another call.
I got you, and I'm sending you an email right now, and I'm gonna put my phone number. If you don't mind texting me, because I'm not sure if I have your number.
Okay, that works. Thank you.
I just emailed you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sunshine.
I have a question. Yeah, and also Anise or Carlos, you'd mentioned you have your Know Your Rights seminars coming up for the immigrant community. I was wondering, is there any sort of rapid response plan that's set up for the district? I mean, just in case things come up. So one other follow-up to that. Are there legal services available? And then also, are you maybe working with the LGBT Center to work with the transgender community on maybe issues transgender community might be dealing with right now?
Yeah, I reached out to Alvina to see if somebody wanted to internally join the immigration roundtable we're gonna have and then I'm happy to forward you that info, or Alvina could send you that info. But yes, because there are a lot of folks want to be, because I think the general concern right now is what do we do if ICE comes to our business, to our schools, to our churches and things like that. That's the general sense, and we want to make sure that what we're communicating there is not, I mean, everybody is panicked, and so many people are panicked and they're shaken and they don't know what to do, and those sentiments are completely understandable, but we want to make sure that we're also
confirming that ICE is in specific areas and, not just not that it's just a false alarm, but we also want to prep folks on like what to do and how to be part of a rapid response. So I'll send you, if you could email me as well. It's Anais, ANAIS.Gonzalez@lacity.org. And I'll be able to provide more more info about the different things. But I do know that we are going to start with a Know Your workshop in like first week of February, sometime that week, with the Boys and Girls Club. More details to come because I don't have the full concrete details. And that's one thing. Oh, I did forget to mention it's completely away from immigration, but is anybody familiar here with Dorothy Smith Park or Franklin, almost by the Magic House? So I know it's out of the jurisdiction of this neighborhood council. But if you have folks who have concerns of that park or just have questions about that park, we are having a community meeting this Thursday at the Fountain office at the community room. I'm happy to send over that flyer. I have been sharing it more to the folks at Hollywood Hills as they kind of have shared their concerns in regards to that park and that pocket park. Just for background, I know we have pocket parks in our neighborhood, but our office is very aware that a lot of these pocket parks are not being utilized, and they were implemented years ago, and the vision is just not there anymore. So our office is trying to figure out what we do with these pocket parks. But again, I think in the city, it takes a lot of time. And if we want to change one, we can have to change a lot. And that goes to Selma. But right now, Dorothy Smith Park has gotten a lot of attention. So we'll be having a community meeting. If you know anybody who has been asking you about that park or those random emails that you may get about that park, I will send over a flyer in regards to this.
Thursday at what time?
It will be Thursday at 5:30 at the Hollywood Fountain office.
Where we are right now.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and it's about that park on Dorothy and Benjamin Smith Park. It's on Franklin, yeah.
I got one more question. Can I ask for back to immigration real quick?
Yeah.
The question is, what can we do as a city to pave a pathway for those of our citizens who are, undocumented to get documentation like in a federal way? Like, I know that, for instance, if I want one of my friends to come to America, I could send them like an invitation, I have to go through a bunch of processes. Like I have to say like, look, I have at least this much money in my bank account. I'll be able to support this person while they're here. It's like, so there's these things that an individual can do in order to support somebody. Is there anything that a city can do to paint the pathway? Like, as an example, if some of these undocumented people came and like showed support and showed like, hey, look, I'm a volunteer. I'm in support of the Constitution. I want to be an American. Is there anything we can do?
Yeah, it's so tricky because unfortunately, anything immigration comes at the federal level. So all that would have to change at the federal level. The city could do its things like obviously become a sanctuary city, and then some of these Know Your workshops or things that we want to focus on. We do want to focus on also educating people, like what does a sanctuary city mean? Essentially is that LA is basically saying, we're going to protect our undocumented community, and instead of us giving data to whether that's the feds, whether that's it's going to be harder for that. I cannot speak for how LAPD works when it comes to that. No major jurisdiction, but at the city level, the best that we could do is like make sure that our undocumented folks feel safe, create rapid responses, and that way people are alert when ICE. Another thing that we could do is educate our folks, the do's and don'ts. The Biden administration did implement these parole programs, but it was specifically geared to Nicaraguans, Cubans, Venezuelans, and Haitians. But as the new Trump administration, he has said I think he's getting rid of those. So there are programs that the federal level has conducted, which kind of goes back to you that you could become a sponsor. And then you show them how much money you make. So there are these temporary programs that have been implemented in previous administrations, and the Biden did that parole specifically. Again, TPS, temporary protection status for, I think it's, I'm not so sure if it's still for Hondurans, Salvadorans don't, for server lows with the temporary protected status. That came out that it's a temporary thing, but again, all these programs that are sometimes made, once we get a new federal admin, they could all change, but there's really nothing concrete, even at the federal level, that's going to guarantee you a pathway to citizenship. I know in many years they have tried to do that with DACA, but as we've seen, it has not been successful. But asylum is still like the number one way, but even then with asylum, it still takes a long time. Workers permits, if you are a somebody who lives out of the United States but comes here on a workers permit because they got a job, that's also a way, I think, a way that sometimes jobs could sponsor. But at this local level, it's very hard because the part is that immigration is still heavy concentrated at a federal level. It's really only a federal thing. But sanctuary cities are made to become a little bit more protective with your city, and when it comes to these situations where we have undocumented folks, I would have to say a lot of it is just kind of it's education, making sure that our undocumented community continues to the do's and don'ts. So I emphasize that, unfortunately, as it may be an economic discouraged, but make sure you have a lawyer, make sure you talk to a lawyer, make sure you talk to people who know the law, who know the immigration law and things like that. So we do want to focus on educating a lot of our community on knowing these little things and how to mitigate and like how to better. But like as I mentioned, it's very hard at the city level to make some changes because immigration is a federal mandate. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks. And Carlos, good to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Sunshine.
Okay, so government representatives, and we're gonna go in attendance. Erica, do you want to go? Cool. And then Brian after that.
David from the mayor's office.
Oh, David's here too? Okay, cool. Hi, Erica.
Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Gathika-Dowdy. I support the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council as well as 7 other neighborhood councils. In fact, I just got a new neighborhood council under my belt. And so,
which one's your favorite?
If you, of course, we'll talk offline. But with that being said, if you've reached out to me, whether you're a stakeholder in the community or the board, if I don't get back to you, please feel free to reach out to me, give me a call, because I am working very closely with the neighborhood council to bring them up to speed.
Who's the new one?
Loyal Heights Neighborhood Council.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll keep it short for tonight, but just a few announcements. I first want to say that I'm glad to see that you all are doing okay. And thank you for your support in the community. As we're going through this disastrous time, I mean, not only to you all, to our first responders, to the community as a whole. I know that Chnc was actually one of my first NCs to reach out to me and say like, hey, Erica, we're doing this with our emergency fund. So I'm happy to hear that you all were able to act quickly. And this is a pitch for anyone who is interested in being a part of this neighborhood council. The NCs are able to take action quite quickly, especially with these emergency funds, to give back to the community. So I'm sure you all will give an update a little bit later, but thank you again for your service in doing that. As you know, we're still in election season. And so given everything that's gone on with the fires, they've extended our candidate filing deadline, which means if you're interested in running for the board for this upcoming election, please submit your candidate filing form by Friday, February 3rd. So just a few days away. Outside of that, we do, I think I've sent it in the past, our department had drafted up some flyers, some candidate, vote by mail postcards. They're a little bit different than others. You have to request your ballot. It doesn't matter if you live in the area or whatnot. You have to request it, receive it, fill it out, put it back in, send it via mail. Because we are only a vote by mail election this year due to budget cuts. So outside of that, I think we have the Congress of Neighborhoods that just met and they have their board already. We have here our president and Daniel that is joining us this year again. And so just like last year, I will also be supporting the Congress of Neighborhoods as a lead. So Daniel and I will be working very closely, even outside of this meeting.
Is that you, President?
I took a sabbatical last year.
Yeah.
Year before that, you were.
Yeah, so.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Like if he doesn't have any other work already, much work already, but yeah, so I'll be working with Daniel. And just to remind you all, I also am working on the Empower LA Youth Conference. So we closed our applications for that. We received a total of 217 youth. We're accepting 100 youth. We're actually going through that process of vetting through those applications. And we will be sending out applicants a notification this week, letting them know the status. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions if any.
Did any of their NCs use their emergency funds?
Yeah, so
Nice.
we had Elysian Valley Riverside. At the start of the fires, they purchased 7,095 masks for their community to distribute. I know that Greater Cypress Park, initially they had talks about buying air purifiers, as many as they can with those funds. They ended up donating directly to the LAFD Foundation. So they ended up going that route. And then I think Reseda Neighborhood Council also bought a few donations. So everyone kind of pitched in, but like I said, CHNC was one of the first to reach out. So thank you.
It's cool to see what other people did as ideas for a not future, but just ideas.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So any questions for Erica? We've got the next event's coming up is the youth in the Congress. That's our next event. And then our fiscal year ends June 30th.
Yes.
And so we'll be getting some NPGs today and the next February. Yeah, great.
And so the Congress of Neighborhoods that you're planning now, that's going to be in September again sometime?
So the department supports the Congress Planning Committee. So they're actually the ones planning it. We just do whatever they need support with. But yes, that is listed for September the 25th, 4th?
Fifth, sounds right. It's
Okay, 5th.
fourth.
Yeah, I know it's late
Oh, okay.
September.
You'll get lots of reminders.
Oh, yeah.
And we currently have 6 candidates.
Yes, I did see that.
6 candidates for 4 spaces.
Keep in mind that in order to actually trigger an election, we need at least 1 contested seat. So.
So we have 4 people who are up for re-election and we have 6 people running.
So isn't that a contested seat?
Well, we have a total, oh, that's right,
Yeah,
yes,
so we have-
because not all of our seats are up for election,
Yeah,
that's right, yes.
So we have 6 for 4.
So we did trigger an
We
election.
triggered an election.
Mhm.
I'm just usually triggered.
Fabulous. Any questions for Erica? Any online? There's a new hand that's up. Oh, no, that's for David. Okay, great. I think that's it.
Right, thanks, everyone.
Let's
Thank
go back
you.
to David and then to you.
That's fine.
It's fine? Okay, let's go to David from the mayor's office.
Because we all know Brian loves to watch every single one of these.
Brian's gonna have the heaviest meeting, the heaviest note, and so I just want to keep it for last.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Otherwise, no one's gonna want to go after.
Yeah, true story. I see, I understand. Oh, David's
Can you hear
here.
me?
I'm in.
Hey, there you are.
Hey,
What
how
up, dog?
y'all doing? And let me introduce myself for those that do not know me. My name is David Nguyen. I'm the central representative from Mayor Bass's office. I kind of heard what Anais was talking about earlier about the ICE activities, right? And I just wanted to chime in a little bit in regards to, I don't know if I missed at the beginning, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But we do have local response networks where we will ask people if they do see ICE activities, that they call certain numbers. I'll share that with you guys, right? There is a number right now that I'll just give you right now. If you see local ICE activities, because LAPD is not cooperating in that sense with, or not coordinating with immigration to do these activities, right? So like, we want to know if things are going on. We also ask residents, just like Annie said, right, to educate residents, right, to get the red cards. You can get these physical red cards at any local library. You can even go online and get that. I have it screenshotted into my phone, and if anyone asks, you can just show them the red card, right? They have no probable cause. If they don't have a warrant, you can just show them this. They don't have no right to search you or, detain you. And then there's the number that you can call, right? So if you see local ICE activities, please call 888-624-4752. And that's just the general number for Los Angeles. And then I want to give you an update about the Disaster Recovery Center. We opened 2 centers. One is on the west side. It's on Pico and I can't remember the other street. But I have been sending emails out. I'm not sure if you received it, but this is where folks can go and you can get your vital records, disaster relief loans, mental health services. There's everything over there. It's a one-stop shop. Some days we have up to 80 agencies over there. You can get, driver's license, passports, your deeds, everything that you need over there. And then Mayor Bass appointed Steve Soberoff as the Chief Recovery Officer to help the city recover, right? So all the efforts in this disaster, we are putting all our resources towards rebuilding Los Angeles in this way. And yeah, that's all I wanted to let y'all know.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions?
Good to know.
Oh, do you want to go ahead?
No, you go first.
Yeah, so with regards to the planning for rebuilding the fires, I was reading an article actually just earlier today, and it was kind of focused on how there seems to be a rush to rebuild. Obviously, everybody wants to get into their homes as quickly as possible, but this particular article was highlighting how the historical nature of how other cities have had fires, and sometimes if people plan, I'm just wondering if there's maybe some planning to maybe incorporate maybe some additional housing. I mean, if you build everything the exact same way that it was, maybe it just creates the same risk as before. But if there's some planning that takes into account, maybe there's some ways to either rebuild the housing that makes it more fireproof, safe, or even add more housing so that in the future it'll kind of help to alleviate the housing price, even though it'll take years. So I'm just wondering what the thought process is. Is it just to rebuild as quickly as possible, or is there some sort of plan in place to kind of think through some ways to kind of alleviate the housing crisis at the same time?
Well, the thing is, like with each individual plot of land, it's owned by somebody, right? So it's totally up to them to determine what they want to do with their own piece of their parcel of land. So for us to accelerate the rebuilding of certain residential zones, it's up to them how they want to rebuild. And we are going to create a space where it's almost like a one-stop shop, where just like the Disaster Recovery Center, where everyone can go there and they can receive all the services that they need. We're going to do the exact same thing through planning. So it'll be a one-stop shop for you to go. Like if you lost your home, you'll be able to go in there with all the different planning department and go through that whole process, right? And to accelerate that, more than likely, you're just going to rebuild what you have or make it just a little bit bigger, right? But if you want to, go and build all these luxury apartments, we don't know. That process is going to be a lot different, right? But if you're just going to go in to quickly rebuild your home exactly how it was, or just a little bit bigger, not deviating from the original plans, that's going to be the way that's going to be accelerated. As to the new, I don't know, we might have to think of different things to implement to make sure that people are doing everything they can to keep their rebuild as safe as possible, right? So we talk about like using fire retardant material, things like that. Like it has been discussed. So there is conversations about all these things and how do we overstep and, create a new policy, you might add, that requires you, or a new code, right, that requires you to abide by certain stringent codes to rebuild. We want to rebuild as quickly as possible. So that determination has not been made. They're still trying to figure out how they're going to do all this, but the key is making sure everyone's safe. So number one, like human lives is at risk, and that's why this process has to be balanced really carefully. But once we clear the area of debris and making sure that, so the EPA is going in right now, making sure that, lithium batteries that were burned, right? Making sure anything that was hazardous is cleared before we can even move. So that's the most important thing, right? But then determining the codes, I don't know yet.
We had a question, right?
Yeah, let me make this quick because I don't think this is ultimately a question for LA Metro. And I was going to pose it to you and Officer White to see if anybody has any knowledge surrounding this. It's a very odd situation. So I was on the bus on Beverly the other day, and we got into an accident. A car pulled out in front of the bus. The bus had to slam on the brakes, and everybody in the bus kind of like, hit the bars, hit their faces, but ultimately, like, the bus was able to just continue to drive. Nobody really the bus pulled over and was like, is everybody okay? Did anybody get hurt? Everybody was like, I mean, I'll probably have a bruise tomorrow, but like nobody was bleeding or anything like that. Again, I know this is like a question for like LA Metro, but like, is there any repercussion on that driver that pulled out in front of the bus? Do they have cameras on the buses or anything like that? Because it just seems like this car almost really hurt a bus full of people, and they're just gonna like go on with their day. So I was just curious if you had any experience with something like that or any knowledge surrounding that type of situation.
I don't, but it would seem like that should be a report that was written, right, and documented. So I don't know that process, and that is a Metro process. Maybe LAPD might have some answers, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we'll go on to the last. Thank you for being here.
Free bus pass.
It's already free. Should we ask Brian?
Bus pass already free?
Slow White.
You got what you paid for.
I don't use it.
Okay, we got Senior Lead Officer.
Hello, everyone. Brian White, the Senior Lead Officer for the Hollywood Entertainment District. Two main things I want to talk about today, but I'll add a third with the starting off with the immigration stuff. Just so everyone knows, and this dates back to probably in the 80s with, I think it was Daryl Gates implemented, where LAPD doesn't initiate immigration status and checks, those types of things, nor are we forwarding information and stuff like that. So if you see this sort of activity, it's going to be led by whatever it is, ICE or Homeland Security, whoever it is. And it's a separate entity. It's not LAPD. We're not facilitating it or initiating any of this stuff. And a lot of that has to do with, we do police. We're a municipal police force, and a huge part of our ability to effectively
Agreed.
Prevent crimes, solve crimes is based upon our relationship with the community. And they don't want people to fear coming to the police based upon immigration status, whether you've been a victim or a witness or those types of things. So if that helps a little bit, maybe ease some concerns. Second thing will be the fires, obviously a huge incident for the city. The LAPD and how this impacts your neighborhoods. The LAPD is still on a tactical alert. What that means is essentially when you're on tactical alert, the department decides when you come and go. So they can order everyone to stay. They can order, they decide when you leave. It's not just your normal shift. They've basically had it set up where we've been on tactical alert ever since. And if you're assigned to the fires, you're basically working, ends up usually being about 16-hour days. Everyone else on the patrol divisions typically gets to go home at regular hours. They are modifying that aspect, but it also affects the way calls are taken. So if anyone's had to try to call the police for anything, any sort of what we would call non-priority or non-coded calls aren't being taken by the city right now. So that leaves there's a lot of calls that come out like those today. So your business disputes, your trespass suspect, your just a guy causing a disturbance, yelling, screaming, maybe verbal confrontations, those kinds of things. So if those just aren't they don't have a car being dispatched. So it definitely does affect service. It also officers don't initiate their own police stops, traffic stops, things like that while you're on tactical alert as well.
Oh, that's great news for me.
I mean, take that, those traffic rules are there to keep people safe, so keep that in mind. So that, it does have a continued impact, and I was surprised by even though it's a fire incident, you think of the fire department is definitely the lead at most of the risk.
Right.
There is a huge requirement for the police when it comes to maintaining road closures, and then a lot of extra patrol in the areas that are closed. And then it's turned into, checkpoints and then escorts in and things like that. So I think majority of us, I speak for myself, we're there for whatever needs to be done. We're also eager to eventually get to the point where we can move forward and get back to spending more time, in our divisions and getting back to regular police work and stuff.
Is the National Guard still with us?
That I don't know. I haven't been, that's the other thing. They can cancel days off too on tactical alert. They've kept days off, which is nice. I've been off, I was off the last 3, so when I was there last week, they were still out with us. And there were a lot of checkpoints or there were streets where you were assigned to where it was you and the National Guard, which is also interesting because their National Guard's powers are limited compared to, there's only so much they can really do. They can't initiate stops. They can't detain people. They can basically act in self-defense. But so it still does require a police presence, which is also interesting because everyone goes to, you see the police car and then you see this Humvee, with people with plate carriers and stuff. Everyone wants to go talk to the real authority. And they're like, you gotta talk to those guys about that problem. So.
They just want to talk to those guys with the biggest guns.
Trust me, I get it. I get it.
But they don't work, huh?
So, yeah, but they're in it just as much too, like working these long, there was one unit that was there, and I don't know how their times work, but the guy he went from night shift, and then for whatever reason, the thing flipped, and now he was assigned to day shift, but it wasn't like, okay, you get a day off. So he worked like a full night shift and then got assigned to that and like a full day shift. So it was, they are young kids, but man, they're hard too. So.
Zombie by that time.
Yeah.
And so the Hollywood division is going out as far as
and as far as I know, it's all of the city that they're pulling, definitely from West Bureau. So like every day, there's a list of officers that get told, hey, tomorrow you start at 5, and then you go out there and you're not getting home till 9 or 10.
But then do the criminals know that and say, oh, perfect, this is our time to commit local crimes?
They're gonna have to come to the neighborhood council to find out.
We'll see. I mean, there's definitely a diminished presence because so you have fewer officers on the street. So, and there's certain things that we've noticed as far as from speaking with our captain stuff, some things have kind of, they start, they push those little boundaries and things like that. So, criminals and people like that, they see lack of a presence. So that I'm sure it will have an impact. I don't have the numbers to say so yet, but yeah, it's a reality. We talk about crisis, like this is a huge one. And even if we're not in the Palisades, it impacts all of us because as a city, we are all in on this, so.
And LAPD is low numbers anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's another story. But
Yeah, so then now you have low numbers plus you're out there instead of here and yeah, I hear you. Wow. And then we don't know how much longer.
No.
The rains did diffuse a lot of fire, but not 100.
Yeah, and that's the reality though is I think the majority, like the Palisades had burnt away from the city itself. But even if the fire's out, we still have this huge disaster zone where people aren't allowed in yet. And it's kind of it's literally it's a nightmare, and it's a nightmare to try to manage. And there's a lot of criticism out there. The command post, it takes forever officers get frustrated because you get there and it takes forever for you get who's here, who's not, get them assigned out and so you get your relief. So you're there just trying to get to where you need to go, but it takes the coordination aspect takes a lot. So, your partners are out there and they're running on fumes too, and you want to get out there, but it's a lot to coordinate. And those are chiefs and stuff like that are running these types of things, but it is a huge undertaking, and I don't have any idea of when this will be over.
Did we have a homicide at a club about 2 weeks ago?
There was a homicide. Okay, yes.
Yeah, you want
Yes.
to talk about that real quick?
And the terrible thing is I don't even have any, I haven't even gotten into the details of it.
I think it was,
It was,
a nightclub.
it was Warwick.
Warwick,
Um,
yeah, it was Warwick.
Warwick it's basically like Wilcox and Sunset. It's traditionally been a non-issue club. I actually don't have the strongest like interaction relationship with them just because they've never really been a problem. And aside from maybe valet complaints here and there with, because but it was traditionally a pretty non-issue. So I don't know if there's been a change in operation. I don't know if they've changed their, there's a whole list of things that can affect these things.
You don't say the word trigger, but maybe.
I mean, so, but from this, lots of times, yeah, exactly. A different promoter, bringing different people from different areas. I think, this is speculatory, but it happened outside. Lots of times with the valets, you have an issue where you can check for weapons and stuff when you go into the club. But when a valet comes, they're bringing whatever you kept in your car right to you right there. So those things that sometimes start inside spill out to the sidewalk. And then now you bring in I've seen this happen before, now you bring in the vehicle with whatever firearms and it resulted in the shooting, so.
And someone died.
Yeah, that was a homicide.
That's unfortunate. Was it right outside on Sunset?
Yeah.
Or right out, not inside?
Yeah.
Did you guys case the guy?
I don't think so. I don't know.
At large?
That's all being held. So homicide is its own.
Division or?
Yeah, they have a bureau-wide homicide team. It's not like it used to be where you had homicide detectives at each station.
Oh.
So we don't have the direct, there's like a direct line of communication, and they also do keep a lot of things kind of tight knit till their investigation.
Just need one more person.
I don't have any better info on that one.
Wow.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I'm
it's
sure
probably the
there-
biggest news in our neighborhood was that.
Yeah, that's it. I hate to see that. We've actually, nightlife isn't what it used to be around here. A lot of the clubs are gone, but the ones that are remaining haven't really been a problem. And we've put in a lot of work to get it that way. I don't want to see this
Yeah.
fall back. And look, that's been a lot of involvement with the board and with these, permits that come and the conditional use permits. So I attribute to a lot of the successes to you guys as well. So we just need to make sure, find out what happened here, what we need to do going forward and make sure we, keep our finger on the pulse for this and make sure it doesn't start to become more of a problem.
I also talked to a lot of the club owners, and because of the fires, everyone had cancellations. Clearly, nobody wanted to celebrate anything. So like there were tons of parties that were set for that random weekend and week. And the owners were like, we have lost millions of dollars on like paid for catering, paid for spaces, paid for everything. And of course, like nobody, so they're really struggling like at the Dream and
Yeah.
Tommy. Scott
Had
Free.
the night of the Sunset Fire, the hotels were calling me, they're like, hey, first question was, if we get an evacuation order, like, what are we gonna do? Like, if you think about that, because it did the mandatory evacuation, there's the mandatory and then there's the evacuation warning, which went right down to Hollywood Boulevard, which is crazy when you think about it. So,
That's like a million people, no, like a couple 20,000 maybe.
and so.
Roosevelt's over there too, on that
What-
side, the Roosevelt, right?
Roosevelt South Side.
So that'd have been okay.
Yeah, the warning went down to Sunset. I was in the warning area.
Well, is there a hotel by there? I'm sure there's.
Yeah, the Roosevelt is.
So it did go down to Sunset.
Roosevelt was in the warning area.
Was, right?
Was,
Yeah.
like, let's say I was communicating with the W and
Mm.
Dream, or actually it was Thompson and it's called Volume now, it was Tommy.
Oh,
But they were in and the question was like, well, okay, where are all these people
Yeah.
gonna go? And unfortunately, the answer is it's the same for everybody. It's
so.
we don't have a great answer for why, but you're just gonna have to go if the evacuation order comes out, and we'll have to figure out where you go afterwards. And
I went to Weespa.
And even without a mandatory, a lot of people were getting those and they're like, I'm out of here. So all this stuff does add up and affect. And we are our neighborhood is extremely dependent upon and
Business.
influenced by tourism and nightlife and stuff like that and entertainment. So
Nobody ever feels bad for them because they're dropping
Right.
buildings and the neighbors are like upset about their noise anyway.
yeah, there's a million things, but those all,
Taxes,
they all that is what this neighborhood is what it is because of those things.
Yeah.
And when they start suffering, it has an effect on everybody.
100%. So I just want to like notate that because I think a lot of people don't think of the little guy as being a tall building with hotels and nightclubs,
This-
restaurants, Tao, which is,
They-
Vegas. but they're suffering.
They bring in, look, all of us can look and go, oh, there's a ton of money that comes in. There's a ton of money that goes out to make those things
That's
happen.
off the charts.
And and again, like we've seen, there's been the night, that industry has suffered and it isn't what it used to be because the money wasn't there anymore. So it's, again, it is easy to throw that, throw stones at the big guy.
If you guys are asking, why did the hotel names change? It's because ownership changed. And why did ownership change? Because the original owner couldn't make the coin.
Yep, that's,
So what happened is the flagship gave it up and a new flagship comes in. Well, what happens when nobody wants it?
yeah,
Because it went from, Hyatt to like an independent line, I think.
yep. Then we'll look at the CLO hotel that we still are
Oh my gosh.
struggling with
The
the,
hotel used to be the USA Hostel, which is across from where Crystal lives.
yeah,
I mean, they bought that thing for $4 million. That's what was on the market anyway.
yeah.
And it's been vacant since purchase, which is like 4 years ago.
It became nothing but, just nasty, like homeless stuff.
With
going on.
fire hazards,
Yeah.
they had to put metal over the doors because the OSB was taken off and they're keeping themselves warm and it's a fire hazard.
That's like what I call a tweaker pad.
Yes.
That's nothing but
Man.
tons of illicit activity going on in there.
And our neighbor with the low income housing next door is like looking down at this building that's constantly on fire and meth and all that.
Your industry's in trouble when the LAPD is the ones like, hey, guys, come on down, hang out at our clubs.
No, it's not.
I don't know if you're the best promoter for that, Mr. White.
What about the Everly Hotel? I was at an event there a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of folks were traveling from literally all over the world, and the news made it sound like all of Los Angeles was burning, I
Yeah.
think. So people canceled their trip. And the days this conference was happening, it was a beautiful, like two amazing, beautiful days. So maybe if there's some way when the media is reporting this, I mean, obviously.
They love those headlines though.
Yeah, they love, like, the
love
whole
those
city is on
headlines.
fire.
Yeah, they love those.
I got a question for you, Officer White. How far out is the restricted zone for being able to get into Malibu and such? How close is it to like where we are? Or like about?
Well, for example, so the way we get there, you go on
If you go Sunset all the way down, for instance.
but haven't taken Sunset. That got down to, I don't know if there was any closure beforehand. So there's Sunset and Kenter. Do you know where that Mandeville Canyon is?
Like, is that past the 405?
Sorry, guys. Gotta mute him just for a second. Need to raise my hand. Need to get over here. Crap. Gotta join the thing. Sorry, we had to hop over there.
And be a voice to try to get that public speech back to our community. And also why the city is ignoring actual federal, state, and
Okay,
local ADA laws.
thank you very much. All right, we'll go to Mo. I'll allow you a minute to speak.
This
Begin.
meeting is being recorded.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Mo, whenever
Yeah.
you're ready, you have a minute.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Go
Took me a
ahead.
second. Thank you. I too would like to speak about the Big Blue building and the permits over there. The planters are still not moved, and they are in direct violation of the city, state, and federal codes. And I can't egress or ingress off from the paratransit vehicles. So I would like to know what's going to be done with that. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
Thank you. Also, when you're done speaking, please lower your hands. Okay, Vicky, I see you. I will promote you to panelists. Also, Jack, if you could take note, Stephanie and Vicky have just joined us. Just promoted you, Vicky, to panelist.
Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm going back over here now to This double tasking is, whew. We haven't missed a damn thing.
Not everything is okay in Hollywood division right now. I like you. So, he has a wife and two children. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And, God bless Paul Jordan.
Yeah. If I can add on to that, he was actually my first senior lead officer in 2014. I remember Thompson and you were actually here, and I didn't even know these guys, but Slow Jordan was our guy that we would see every week. But then you guys would come out, so we had three of you at the time, so it was like a little posse. And then Thompson went to do, well, he was vice. Y'all both were vice actually, right?
So, and I'll give you, yes, we were both vice. Then we were both entertainment district.
Yeah.
So the way the entertainment district is its own like overlay. So Officer Jordan's area actually goes up to Hollywood Boulevard. And then he and I overlaid on part of that. And then he would actually go down into Santa Monica, south of Santa Monica too. So that I don't actually know your lower boundaries, but okay, so a lot of your area, he was the actual senior lead, like the area senior lead. Like Thompson and I handled the nightlife stuff and then, that kind of stuff. But as far as your everyday like senior lead police work, he was the one going to the apartment complexes, meeting with apartment managers, meeting with the Craig De Silvas, the David, Carreras, all your like community, like, that was Paul Jordan. And like I said,
So when did you become our Slow? Because I think I was Jordan and then you, right?
So
please.
The problem is we came all the time too.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to go to that meeting and stay late. Like you still fall under him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have two Slows.
You basically have, if you're in the entertainment district, you have two Slows.
In here.
Actually, you have three now because it's me, Brett Cohen, and then
cool. How come you never see Brett here?
So we kind of split. I typically take the nightlife, entertainment related stuff. He does a lot more of the daytime. Like he spends a ton of time with the retail theft stuff and the other retailers with the daytime things. And then we help each other out.
You can't fit through that door, right? Because his chest is too wide.
Yeah.
These guys. Yeah. Paul Jordan was really cool. There was like pizza parties and things that they've done. They used to do like they were police officers for like red carpet events. Like security guards, you could say, but they were actually our police officers. So they would be wearing like different outfits and they'd be like, "Hey, it's Jordan," and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm a security guard today." But also tons of neighborhood council stuff. Like I was at the East Hollywood Neighborhood Council or Hollywood Hills, and then I'd see the guys there. So like it wasn't just about CHNC; it was like others and you guys as a group, like Chad and everybody from like Brian's ice cream social. Just everybody's just always together. They're like I don't say fraternity because that has like a really bad connotation, but I would say a brotherhood in the same vein of a fraternity. Like our Hollywood division is so tight.
Yeah.
I don't know if other divisions are as tight. I don't know other divisions personally. Maybe but they're like very close.
When you're facing danger all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's like a
fine.
camaraderie.
So
Group that's
Hollywood, you don't just like, if you're in Hollywood, it's because you want to be here, because it's not your normal division.
Right.
There's just like this oddball, weird factor, strange stuff. It's not a slow
Yeah,
division.
you're strange and you're oddball.
It's not the most violent. There are many other divisions that have more violent crime, but there's something different about Hollywood, just period. And so you either love it or you hate it, is really what it comes down to. And those that love it,
love it.
yeah.
We don't love you
Yeah.
or
I love
hate
the
you.
weird.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. So to do that 22 years,
22 years.
you have to be a character yourself. And he was big as like.
I don't want to waste too much time, but I want to know all the weird stuff. What was the last big weird?
Probably this fire is the best thing.
Well, look, you can go, it goes from the top to the bottom. We have celebrities up in those hills. We have, some of the poorest neighborhoods just, down south of Santa Monica. You have
Tourists.
the tourists, you have just the Hollywood Boulevard street people, you know what I mean? Like, you have the vendors, you have the characters, you have those ones, you know, like, there's this one guy that walks around, we know him by name, like, that was Jordan would always go like, oh, there's so-and-so. I was like, that's the guy I've arrested more times in my career than anybody. Like, he, you know what I mean? Like, and he's
The CD guy?
city guys, all that stuff. And I mean, there's just a million like things you're not gonna, you know, we have our lovely, you know, police auditors here, like all sorts of, you know, interesting, like, again, there's no dull moment in
Oh, cool.
in police work. So,
Yeah.
in Hollywood. So, like I said, it's its own.
Special play. But 22 years, like, yeah, big thanks to
I propose we take a moment of silence.
that. Yeah.
For-
So you wanna do that? I see that.
Moment of silence.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I got the best picture of Paul Jordan holding my kiddo.
Yep.
Like into the sky. He's just like a grandpa. I don't even want to hear that. Who wants to hear their grandpa?
But he loved that. Like, that's what I'm just saying. He checked every single box. And he, like,
Don't even hear you say he could be strict because I have never seen that side of him.
he's one, again, if you were on the wrong side, like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that Jordan, like.
Really?
He's you know, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
He can be tough when you need to be tough.
Yeah, so yeah, he's a special one. I was really heartbroken to hear the news as everybody else was. But yeah, he'll be missed.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip out early today, so
Sorry.
thank you. Yeah.
I'm going live.
Is there anything?
There's like one hand up, but I don't know if it's for you or not. Should I ask or do you want to head out?
We'll leave it.
Leave it.
I'll be here next month.
Yeah, okay, so-
And
yeah.
look, my email is always available to everyone.
Oh.
38074@lapd.online. It doesn't have to be a neighborhood council to ask me a question. You can, you know, that's what we're here for. We're happy to help you with your problems or things that are going on, so. All right.
I actually sent you an email and, yeah, just look for it. There's gonna be an email there.
Today?
Oh, no, this is probably before the fire, so I gotta totally understand if it got lost in the mix.
I think I got one.
Okay, I'll send you another one.
Send it again right now.
Cool.
Send it, I'll make sure it pops up, because we haven't had a weird thing with emails bouncing
I
out.
was just gonna ask you about how to get my CCW.
I just want Brian, first name is BRI or BRY?
Hi.
BRI.
BRI.
And there's no other government.
Sunshine, I'll get you an email too.
It's sunshine@chnc.org.
I'll email you, okay?
Yes, please, and thank you so much, Officer White. See you soon.
Thank you.
Is there any other public, sorry, for public comment, is there any other government representatives? Does Hollywood Rec want to make a government reps or just here for the NPG? Do you want to say anything about the rec center? Any like events coming up, announcements? Yes, okay, cool. No problem. Okay, cool, so that concludes that, right? So we'll go to public comment?
Sure.
We're gonna go into public comment. That's 2 minutes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. Want to get started with Audit LA?
Hey.
One moment, we're just gonna click the button. All right, can you hear us?
I can, but I've had my hand up for every single rep because I had very serious questions, and if if you weren't sure whether or not I wanted to do public comment or talk to them, you could ask, right? Or in the future, know that I will always want to talk to our reps. That's why I come. That being said, so I'm very disappointed because I wanted to ask them, one, why did they, on the day of the fire, did the city council stop all public comment on the phone? There's no more phone-in public comment. So that means if you're displaced from the fire, if you're part of the undocumented community that's would be afraid to go downtown to redress the government, or the ADA community, if you're unable to go, you can no longer call in to any meeting. And as you hear, we're going to have a very important vote tomorrow, and there's no phone call-in at all anymore. I wanted to ask about that. I also wanted to ask about the mayor's rep, why they don't respond when, no matter how many times you reach out, why they don't respond. So I also want to make a point to let you know that besides all of that, I want to go back to the last month, okay? There's a police officer, he's absolute LAPD, and he was guarding the Scientology with no identification or patches or anything to let you know who he was working for. I find that terrifying. He refused to identify. I knew him as a cop, and he can't lie. They're not allowed to lie and say they're not a cop. But I have a problem with any agency, any entity in our community that hires armed guards where they are not obeying the law, where he didn't have to give me his name necessarily, but they have to identify what company they are working with, because he was mistreating the public, and it's just illegal. There's also in the other area, illegal planters. I wanted to also ask NIEs, why is
Thank you. That's your
Hugo
time.
allowing this?
Oh.
This meeting is being recorded.
Just take up to 2 minutes, please.
Yes,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can
Thank
hear
you
you
very
now.
much. Yes, I did also have a question for a few of the reps, so I'm sorry that I didn't get to ask the question. One of the topics that I wanted to talk about was Evina and Sunshine. We've talked about this in the past, was the Obolensky Law. And by the way, my channel name is Fat Grammy if you ever want to join us, Sunshine. In the Obolensky laws, we did ask for an update from the reps the last time, and we still haven't heard anything. And the Obolensky law is a person that you guys were discussing, where Slow White was saying that they knew the people. He was the no hands man down on Hollywood Boulevard at the testing center there for years and years and years, and they know him. And we're looking for justice for that gentleman. So I would love to have an update on the Obolensky law that we had proposed. Two, I saw some chillin' running around there earlier, and it just brought just a smile to my face, seeing the youth that are available to be running around and being part of the community and part of the process. It was really great, but also know that that's the perfect age to be caught up by our cult of Scientology that likes to hold them into a room and hold them captive to where they can't leave. So with that, I would like to bring that bad part of it also. With that, I yield back my time. Thank you.
Thank you. And others, no, that's it. Okay, does anyone want to make public comment that's in the room? That's not agendized. See no hands? Okay, so that'll conclude that portion. We are gonna go on just the consent calendar. It's really quickie. I just have to remove the minutes because they were not put in. So I'd like to make a motion for the consent calendar with B, C, and D, which is the approval of the December MERs, which are in your supporting docs. The request to approve a $4.58 that we spent for the Yucca Rec Center is like a little bit over what we allotted for. And then the approval of the reimbursements at the annual here for the tacos the burritos actually that we got for the fire department, which Daniel could talk about a little bit more in a little bit. And then the pavilions, which was like Gatorade and like Cliff Bars that we got for them, and a couple of beef jerky for the guys there at the folks at the fire department in Hollywood. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Charles. Okay, do you want to talk about anything on there? Pretty
Self-explanatory. I think we probably remember that we sponsored both the Hollywood Rec Center and the Yucca Rec Center's Halloween events. So we went a little over budget, $4.68.
We went crazy.
We went a little crazy.
Leaving computer audio. Sorry, guys. We're going to go pop back over to the East meeting. Dun, dun, dun. And get there, join audio.
Does community plan deliver these for the future? Sadly, no. In my humble opinion, the community plan is our city's business as usual. They know what it's sort of the one trick pony. They know how to give people more zoning, give people a hidden permission slip, either by
is that too loud, you guys?
zoning on their property or offering a density bonus to make new buildings. And unfortunately, there are already old buildings there. Often discretionary actions are huge gifts to landholders, a lot of demolitions. And the problem with that is that's old fashioned, because while the neighborhoods and those of us who remain here get more and more removed from decision making, when it becomes, we are more and more left out of it, we are getting less livability. And as a city, we're having to pick up the tab for the cost in infrastructure of this growth. So again, as I said, if you just look at this map and see like where's all the color, you can see west of the 101, most of the upzoning that's increasing the density on any particular parcel, and the density bonus were overlaid on the commercial and historic central core of Hollywood and its nearby bungalow neighborhoods. We can go to the next one. You just see the intensity of the color. But it doesn't mean that East Hollywood will stay unchanged. Now, what happened was that Councilman Soto Martinez was voted in very late in the game. And he caught on quite quickly to the fact that west of the 101, he had a little help, but west of the 101 was all this massive upzoning, and east of the 101 was left alone. So he had promised at the time what they called 3.0, another look at the community plan. Now, that was now a year and a half ago. I don't think it's happened. And he promised to bring the same densification to East Hollywood, that same upzoning, bring that to East Hollywood. But he promised in that activity to achieve what's known as inclusionary zoning. And we will go into that in more detail. Inclusionary zoning means if you want to build any housing, you must include affordable housing, not we'll give you additional units if you give us a few affordable units. So, but we'll get into that in more specifically. But in the interim, citywide, a huge density bonus program called the CHIP has been approved, which exceeds the current TOC incentives. So for those of you who've been dealing with all these density bonus programs to date, they weren't delivered through the community plan. They were only somewhat delivered through the community plan, and then they're on steroids under the CHIP. Am I losing everybody? You're okay?
I don't think you're losing everyone. Could you tell everyone what the TOC is and what the practical implications are of that when it comes to
the transit-oriented communities was a proposition put forward to the LA voters to say, would you allow a developer, if this developer gave you, say, 10% of the allowed units as affordable housing, we'll then give you 35% or 55% more unaffordable units, luxury units. So the transit-oriented communities program was something that was presented to the LA voters, and the LA voters are actually a good bunch. And they said, okay, we'll go with this. We believe in affordable housing. We will let this kind of density bonus incentive program go forward. When it actually came out, all the incentives were amped up. But so I mean, did you just take an example? Let's say I'm allowed to build 50 apartments on a piece of land. If I will make 10% of them affordable, they'll give me maybe 35% more. Is that helpful?
It is. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a numbers game. Essentially what it means is if I own a piece of land now and I can build X on it, I can build X plus Y if I make a small amount of it. I deed restricted as affordable. So he also promised a list of changes after the adoption of the plan and including the inclusionary zoning, because he literally was voted in and the whole thing was baked. I mean, it was baked, had been baked for years. It was baked in 2012 and rejected by the courts. But so he came in with his list of changes, but they were going to have to happen afterward. And so it's still the status of each of these initiatives is unclear. But what he was promising was he was going to achieve a mandate that any project, all projects, include affordable units. And he correctly noted that Central Hollywood was just being given away. The landholders were just being given away enormous benefits, and that the proposed density bonus system doesn't work when you give it away for free. So he also asked that Central Hollywood density be reduced. So, and separate from this, he's proposed resident protection ordinance and such, but it's not really, this was all supposed to happen after, and it's not clear where all this work, whether it will ever happen in East Hollywood. So if we can go on. So what's the opportunity in a community plan? Okay, this is a commercial break, so we can go ahead. Next one. It's really to figure out the future. Is this the future? This is Hollywood Boulevard. Is this the future? Is this the future? We think that the almighty we, thinks that a livable, sustainable, attractive future is possible. It's been done in Pasadena, Santa Monica, Riverside, Culver City, Redlands, Santa Barbara, Sausalito, even Beverly Hills and Larchmont. You can keep your neighborhood character, you can add housing, you can revitalize main streets. We ask a very obvious question: why not Hollywood? Why can't Hollywood have something good? So if you go through here, these are pictures. This is what Pasadena did with their urban design plan. All of these buildings are new except the one on the upper right. They build the buildings that fit with the neighborhood, with the scale of the neighborhood. They're pleasant. It's a joy to go there. Santa Monica did it. Same thing. They shoehorned in brand new apartment buildings. This suffered under COVID, but they did an urban design plan. They used their planning department to bring great things to their city. Santa Barbara did this with an urban design plan. This is new. This is a new regional shopping mall, and they made it look like it fit into Santa Barbara in the middle of State Street. It can be done. You don't have to build a bunch of ugly white boxes, overscaled ugly white boxes. And if you imagine Hollywood Boulevard, under these badly remodeled buildings are unbelievable historic gems. And so that's what we hoped to get
Like the
from
blue
a
building.
community plan. So that's what a community plan can do for you: a livable, walkable, attractable, sustainable lifestyle. That's the future we could have had. Unfortunately, not what we got.
They're one of the biggest
And we could
developers
have
there
had a
are,
community
Peter.
plan that helps existing Hollywood and helps housing, that really focuses on the realities. These are all buildings in Hollywood, fairly large scale buildings that have been reused. These are all now housing. So they were adaptively reused as housing. This community plan was the opportunity to really deal with the realities of today, the downturn of retail, of office, the more people wanting to move into a very livable urban area. These were the kinds of opportunities that are missed. So why didn't we get that? So if we go next to ask the question, so what are the basics of any community plan? Any community plan is a roadmap or a blueprint for the physical development of the land. In this case, you try to do them every 20 years. So the time frame for Hollywood was the year 2040. Land uses are divided into commercial, industrial, residential, open space, or public, and very little of that changed. That's sort of been baked into Hollywood for a good long time. What's commercial, what's industrial, but everywhere in Los Angeles, you can build residential in a commercial zone. The amount of development, I had one more thing. Zoning is what governs the amount of development, the quantity. So, but this is the fundamental factor. The reason that you do a community plan and the obligation by law is to ensure that the city services, the utilities, the parks, the police, the fire, the water, the infrastructure, the streets, the sidewalks are going to be provided in the needed amounts to support whatever the expected growth is in population. Does that make sense? I need a couple nods. So you're trying to say, I expect so many people, I'm going to ensure that those people are provided for with all the city services. Secondly, the other basic for any community plan is to say that where growth gets located matters. You locate growth to minimize any kind of damage or impact. You don't build on slopes that are falling into Pacific Coast Highway. And there are 9 mandatory elements that you have to look at to coordinate with where you locate growth. And it's relative to traffic, open space, noise, safety, environmental justice, air quality, and conservation, which includes historic preservation. This plan failed. It put all of the density on top of all of the historic landmarks. So the next one. So, and I think you've heard of EIRs. Everybody heard of the EIRs?
No, could you tell us what that is?
Okay. EIRs are environmental impact report. All the developers are trying to always get rid of them because it's supposed to be a factual analysis of your project. In this case, the project is a community plan. And factually, you're supposed to evaluate all the factors that we just named, and there's even more, factually, dispassionately, and evaluate whether or not your proposed plan is going to cause damage. And then you're supposed to do something about it if it is. So EIRs accompany many, many projects that I think come before you because there's supposed to be an arm's length look. Will this project cause harm of some kind? So I think the question you've asked is, what did Hollywood get out of this community plan? What did East Hollywood get? So let me see if I can answer that. I think what I've said, probably ad nauseum, is that the heavy growth was promoted in central Hollywood, right where it's already gridlocked and directly threatening one of our nation's greatest concentration of historic buildings. buildings listed at the highest level in America as important to America. And so we can go to the next one. The next slide. This is Central Hollywood. You see again, the freeway going through. So the CPIO and the community plan, it's like a demolition bullseye over historic Hollywood. They repealed 35 years of historic protections and threatened many, many, many historic buildings. They're now under terrible threat. The next. These are just pretty pictures. Our nation's largest collection of historic theaters that have been restored and adaptively reused are now zoned to be removed and replaced. And this, I won't go into it. This is a map where we've compared and done a conflict mapping of the historic resources with what I call the Death Star of upzoning and the CPIO over Central Hollywood. So next. So if you take the example of Grauman's Chinese, do you know what floor area ratio is, FAR? It's the ratio if your lot is 5,000 square feet, an FAR of 1:1 would be you could build 5,000 square feet. FAR 6:1, you could build 30,000 square feet on your 5,000 square foot lot. Grauman's Chinese now is a 1:1. They can have an equal amount of building on their lot as they have lot area. That's what it is built to now. It's a theater. Most of the theaters are. They're basically one-story buildings. And it was increased by the CPIO to almost 7 times to 1. It's a clear incentive to demolish it. This applies to housing too. So here, what is the future? You build giant apartment buildings instead of Grauman's Chinese Theater. So this part is, I'm going to try to say clearly, because if the message has come across that there's masses and masses of upzoning west of the 101, the promise was it's coming to you. It's coming to the east of the 101. Hasn't happened yet, but that was the promise. And west of the 101, we got massive quantities of upzoning, which promote demolition of existing buildings. We see huge numbers, 85 units being torn down for new buildings in one property. So they're supposed to take an official source from SCAG and say, how many people are expected? So 226,000 was what they started with. So they overreached from the 226 and said, well, we're reaching for 264,000 people. But in point of fact, the numbers are far, far higher. And the plan that I worked on would have been sufficient if it was a low conservative estimate was that the plan that was in effect would have supplied homes for 272,000 people with no bonuses, no upzoning, no changes, no giveaways, no TOCs, no nothing. No upzoning was necessary. It was already in the plan. And so next. So estimates now, estimates for that plan went all the way up from 320,000 to 470,000 people. The city was told they need 9,000 new units. The state came along and said, you need 34,000 new units. But what nobody ever calculated was, oh, don't we already have them? Since they started counting, all of them have already been built, entitled or permitted using city planning's own data. None of this upzoning was needed where we got it, and it's not needed for you either. So now I'm going a bit off my reservation. Did tenants get help? And I get the sense that this is a question that is being asked in your group. Is that true? So let me say, first of all, that community plans generally are not the place that this happens, that tenant protections happen. They're supposed to have justice and fairness, but they usually don't get down to the level of rent control, tenant protections from eviction, relocation assistance, and we did have a plan called the Hollywood Redevelopment Plan that has been in effect and was supposed to stay in effect till 2028. This community plan removed that, and that dealt with a lot of tenant protections and things that were baked into new projects. Like you can delay evictions until a new project is approved. You can delay demolition and require alternatives to be studied. You can give a right to return to displaced tenants. You can mandate replacement of demolished affordable units. And it's usually at a minimum of 1-to-1, but the state has a little escape hatch from that. You can deny density bonuses when rent control units are removed. You can have a scorched earth policy that says if there is a parcel where rent controlled or historic buildings are demolished, you can't build on it for so many years. We didn't get that. That's what was taken away. That was in the redevelopment plan, and that was taken away. So next. So from what I can tell, and again, you all may know better than I, that in December, Councilman Soto Martinez and the council voted separately, completely separately from this community plan on a number of the things from that list, a number of tenant protections and assistance to landlords who have genuine economic problems. So I don't know if somebody in your group followed this. It's called a resident protection ordinance, and it has reached the point of the council approving these studies to study these, how to do some of these things. Are any of you familiar with that?
The general public probably is not. So if you want to go into it, that's fine. But
actually,
if you want to do a presentation, that's fine as well.
I Googled to get this for you because I think that the councilman came in thinking that the community plan was the place that he was going to make this happen. And I think he thought that he could somewhat hold the upzoning ransom until he got what he wanted. But I think it's, from what I can see from the outside, and that's why I hope maybe some of you were staying closer to it, it's seeming to me like that the community plan horse got out of the barn, and the tenant protections are still being worked on more at the citywide level. That's but I can be very wrong on this, so that's why I was hoping somebody knew better than I did. So you can ask, does this community plan help tenants? And it had one major requirement. It was mandatory housing preservation report to at least report whether and how it was achieving preservation of existing affordable housing. And that mandatory report has never been produced. In my opinion, all of this upzoning, all of this density bonus leads to housing demolition. The city recommended in the housing element 6,600 properties with rent control units in Hollywood to be upzoned. And that means demolishing what's there.
Of course, so they can
Usually
get
you
better
can't
rents.
do these new projects without taking away what's there.
Of
I
course they
watch
did.
discretionary projects routinely demolish large amounts of rent-controlled housing, and there is nobody keeps track. It goes uncounted. I had somebody in my office count it, and the number for, I think, 2016 to 2021, I can't remember what the dates were, more rent-controlled housing was torn down than was built under these incentive programs. So could we have had a community plan that would help existing tenants and existing Hollywood? I think we could have. We didn't get it. So did it help tenants? I may be missing something. It's unclear. Somebody else may know what the great achievements were. I can't find it, but I can be wrong. So, so renters really are threatened by upzoning and by density bonus incentives. And it's because our city laws and our community plan favors new construction rather than deal with what is existing. And so I think I've gone through some of these numbers. It's so the last question, let me just say that the other thing that's going on that you're hearing both mostly from Sacramento, but you'll also even hear it from all of our councilmen. Why do you make developers do things like widen streets? Why do you make developers have side yards so that the fire department can get a ladder up to get somebody out in a fire? Why do you have wider streets so people aren't killed getting out in an earthquake? And there's a push to reduce what developers are required to do as a part of projects, all in the name of housing, but it's to our detriment as a community. So some last minute changes came in. Maybe Doug knows, I was told there were last minute changes to the SNAP. That's why the community plan was delayed from a hearing in November or December to, I think it was December to January, but I don't know what they were. And the SNAP is the area around Vermont. Doug, is Doug still on? I don't know if Doug's still on. He'll have to be sitting down for this one.
No, I'm looking.
Okay, Doug, the CPIO got a new hidden linkage fee. It was hidden in the November 2024 version. Developers can now buy bonus density without providing housing. You just buy the CPIO density and you pay the city some money, which is yet to be determined how much. So basically, any developer on any of those corridors in East Hollywood can come in, not build housing, but build whatever, and just pay the city a small amount for the rights. And that was snuck in with no discussion, no nothing. The other thing that's come in, and again, you all may know more about this than I do, are the new CHIP ordinances. Have you been through this?
No, we have not.
So the CHIP is the housing implementation program of the citywide housing incentive. So this is a citywide initiative, and the state ordered Los Angeles to build in the next 5 years, 25% as many houses as there are already in the city. And, you just have to think about that and realize someone made a huge mistake. But the CHIP ordinances were voted in late last year to And they will apply throughout East Hollywood. So whether or not you were upzoned in the community plan, these ordinances are applicable in East Hollywood, and they all are density bonus allowances greater than TOCs. And as I say, the city council created a law giving itself the right to repeal the redevelopment plan. So everything that could have been good, urban design plans, traffic studies, design reviews, public involvement, public is now being pushed out of all of this decision-making. Historic building protections, everything from the last 35 years has been removed. So it appears, so that the end result, I would say to you, is that it appears on the face of it that very little changed in East Hollywood directly in this community plan in terms of zoning. But just to summarize, those corridors that I mentioned, those commercial streets, those were effectively upzoned through a CPIO process. But those are limited. Those are limited commercial streets. The linkage fee was introduced with no public discussion, so that those increases in density on those streets can be residential or commercial or whatever. I don't know, an airport. And I don't know what the last minute changes were. Somebody said Hugo came running in with something on the snap, but I don't know what it is yet. And in the interim, the chip was passed. So throughout your area, there are now greater incentives to build bigger and demolish than there were under the current TOC that you have. So I think I'll skip all this and just say, we've had enormous new housing construction. I think close to 28,000 units built, permitted, or entitled in this perimeter. According to the city's own data, I unencrypted it. And the need was for 9,000 units when this community plan update started. But if you think about it, this approach, this upzoning, build, baby, build, hasn't helped homelessness and it hasn't improved affordability. It's this idea that if you funnel incentives to developers to make up for the fact that government no longer funds affordable housing and we lost redevelopment that paid for most of it. If you funnel incentives to developers who are paying $700,000 per unit, it's imagining to say you're going to get rent affordability out of that. And to me, it's not dealing, it's avoiding dealing with the real issues of rents and tenancies. And that's
so, Fran, unfortunately, we have run out of time.
I think this is the end. Let me just see. What's the last slide? That's it. I think we deserve better, and you deserve better.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fran. Now we would go to governing board questions. Does anyone have questions for Fran from the governing board specifically? If you do, please raise your hand, and we'll go by that order. Okay, Coulter, go ahead.
Fran, first of all, thank you so much for coming and giving that great presentation. It's just incredibly helpful to have someone with as much experience as you, who's dealt with all this in the past, come and educate our board on this. Obviously, this is one of the biggest changes to Hollywood in a very, very long time. So again, just want to thank you so much for coming and talking about this. I'm gonna try to summarize what I heard, and let me know if I'm wrong about this, but it's gonna be a huge deal west of the 101. Huge deal for that. For East Hollywood, the TOC projects. Now, for folks who don't know about this, my view on the TOC projects since we've been dealing with them and since our planning land use committee's been dealing with these is that they are giant market rate housing units coming in, right? So it might be 30, 50, 100 units, 400 units coming in, all market rate, which means probably about $3,500 per bedroom. This neighborhood council has been, I would say, very mixed over the years since I've been here on those projects. And one of our primary goals has been to prevent East Hollywood from being gentrified the way that other neighborhoods have. And so those TOC projects coming in and being able to take down rent controlled units and then having these giant projects come in has been a huge source of controversy on our board, and how we approach it has been something we've gone back and forth on. So are you saying then that under this new CHIP plan that we could see much larger amounts of these projects, in both in size of individual projects and number of projects?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Second question. Thank you for that direct answer. I appreciate it.
I tried to tune in. I think it's a combination of an increase in density, and because unless they're fully subsidized, unless you have a nonprofit that gets the money and fully subsidizes the units, the only way you can get a regular developer to spin off a few affordable units is through these quote unquote incentives. It used to be that government, the federal government, and through redevelopment, funded low income housing. Government funding dried up. So you're asking a developer to do this, and what the city thinks is that more is better. So more housing is better also. They just think more plain housing is better, and more incentive housing is better because you get a few affordable units.
Understood, which brings me to this.
On steroids now. You're going to get more of it, more quantity. If they're interested in East Hollywood, it's a market. So it may turn out it's better to do it in Valley Village, and you won't see any.
Gotcha. And then, Fran, the other thing you would mention on these linkage fees is what you're saying they're called. So this would allow them to pay money to the city in order to not build affordable housing.
Correct.
On these, correct? And that just goes right to the budget. That's not allocated towards any particular.
I think that everybody sees a small pot of money and thinks that that's going to do great works. But until you find out what the amount is, it's not clear. So the linkage fee to me was really, really a sellout. And I can be proven wrong, but the point of the upzoning, and Hugo was one of the only people who caught on early on that these density bonus incentives don't work in a lot of high density areas economically. There was an economic study by the city that said that their own program would not work. And two people caught it, Fran and Hugo. But so to come in then later with a linkage fee, which is to say, I'll take this money and put this little fee money in, and maybe we'll build a unit, but you don't have to build any. That's a sellout as far as I'm concerned. But let me just say that the other issue has to do with the 95% or whatever of us who are really here, who are already here. And the issue is you need your rear yards, you need light and air, you need sidewalks, you need all, especially what I'm hearing from people in your area is real trouble with parking, because if they're exempt from providing parking in these housing projects, or they undersupply the parking, they end up on your streets. So developers used to have to pay, not only had to build parking that was adequate, but also had to pay for what are called public improvements, the sewer, the water, the whatever around them. All of that's being now paid by us, the taxpayers. So there are other changes going on that directly affect your quality of life. And they're done in the name of more housing. but it doesn't necessarily make life better for the people who are already here. And it does not protect tenants who are already here.
Okay. Stephanie?
Hi, thank you, Fran, for, putting this together. I don't really have a question at this point. Or actually, maybe if you can just confirm, it looks like it's the ordinance, is this right? It's ordinances 188453 through 188457 that you're referring to, Fran, here, that just got passed
We
as.
just got uploaded and I was away. So
Okay.
what
I think that's
happens?
right. Yeah,
What happens, Stephanie?
yeah. No, I just wanted to make a couple notes for the rest of the committee, because I know that, we have some other folks on the agenda, but I can link the ordinance that I think Fran's work is referring to here, if people are interested. I mostly wanted to just make a couple clarifications from some of the discussion that just happened. So, Coulter was summarizing some of the main points here. He put out there that TOC, transit-oriented communities, is only creates market rate units, and I wanted to clarify that's not quite accurate. Basically, it's a trade-off between in order to get the sort of upzoning and incentives that Fran is talking about, the developers are providing at a minimum number of affordable units. I will say, Coulter, I think what you were getting at is that traditionally the stance of this committee is that there are not enough affordable units that are created in exchange for the sort of benefit that the incentives are providing. So that is, there are criticisms, historically this committee has had criticisms about that, but I just wanted to clarify for everyone else on here, since I know we have, there's a range of how much we've talked about these for folks, that there are, just some affordable units in those projects.
Right.
And then in terms of what Fran has put out there, in terms of, the upzoning is primarily in the Hollywood area, and, Coulter, you're asking about what the CHIP ordinance will do for East Hollywood, and it's true that it applies, across the city. I did just want to point out that affordable housing developers also take advantage of these upzoning incentives. The 100% affordable project at Santa Monica, Vermont, that is providing almost 200 units of, completely low-income housing, did use transit-oriented communities, and it did, it would not have been possible without some of the sort of upzoning and density incentives that are created by some of these programs. I'm not, I don't have a take on, it's good or it's bad. It's a very complicated case, which Fran laid out, but I just wanted to make sure that people understood that it is not just market rate developers that use those incentives. It's a wide range, and, it is difficult to see what a project will look like, but it does provide opportunities equally to the kinds of housing that historically the committee has been interested in providing. So I just wanted to note that for the committee.
That's a really good point, Stephanie, that these incentives also are used by the affordable housing developers. And I can say that's deed restricted and subsidized affordable housing. So they do use the incentives as well, but they were targeted or engineered to attract market rate housing developers to provide some affordable housing. And Stephanie, let me just say that what those ordinances are, they were drafts when they went through council. At the various steps that they went through council, they were drafts. And then once the mayor has signed off, they get a number. So I think what changed is simply that they now have a number on them, because the city numbers their ordinances sequentially. But the drafts of all of that were in the council file all along. They just now have numbers on them. Does that make sense?
Okay, Fran, we'll go to the next question. Jennifer?
Hi, yes, thank you, Fran, for your presentation today.
And I guess my question is a little bit more focused on affordable housing development, right? You know, in 2024, California Housing Partnerships released their affordable housing needs report like they do every year. And it's been identified that Los Angeles has a deficit of 495,000 affordable housing units that are needed to support low-income folks in our community, as well as to help support ending homelessness within our communities. So, you know, as we know, TOC does add a little bit to that number. We know it's not enough. And like Stephanie said, you know, it is used by affordable and permanent supportive housing developers that are nonprofits within our community to help add to that number and help lower it. I guess based on that number and everything that is being done, what do you recommend as additional opportunities to increase the much needed affordable housing in our community?
I think there's a huge error in that information, two huge errors in the California Audit Office agrees. But what I would say to you, Jennifer, is that for the cost of one affordable housing unit construction, I think I figured out that you could give a rent subsidy to someone for 100 years. I can't remember my exact numbers, but the point being that this focus on building affordable housing, if you're saying there's a shortfall of 495,000 units, that's and the number now is 2 people per unit. That's saying we have a shortfall of for 1 million people in Los Angeles. Out of that million, 50,000 are homeless. So who are the other 950,000 people that we're building units for? If they are people who are rent burdened, they need money. They need a rent subsidy. I think the small amount of money, a rent subsidy. So I personally, and again, I'm talking as a, you know, I wasn't hired to do this. But I own a lot of apartments. I believe fully in Section 8. I believe fully in rent subsidies. I think people need money. They don't need trickle down Reaganomics where 30 years from now, maybe that apartment will cost less. And at the rate of $700,000 per unit, you are not going to build these, you or anybody is not going to build 495,000 units of housing. They are already here. The people are in those units. They need money. Rent subsidy. So my answer is don't build them. Build the 100% affordable ones. Great. That's replacing what HUD funds we lost and what redevelopment funds we lost. Build those, and for the rest, give people rent subsidies. The housing is already here.
I guess I'll just follow up on that real quickly. So Los Angeles County doesn't have that number of rental subsidies from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. I guess what would be the recommendation for that?
Oh, it's very clear. It's very clear. I don't know why there are two problems with that. That the HUD money, the Section 8 money's been, and all of that money, over my lifetime, I've watched it be defunded, and then I watched redevelopment be defunded. Government used to fund this stuff. It doesn't. Given the government that we have now, it's probably not going to. So that's why I'm saying our electorate in this city is unbelievably generous. And when they are given the opportunity to vote for something that would help affordable housing, they do. I personally, I'm an architect, I build, but I don't think the building $700,000 a piece units is the wisest way to use that money when what people need is rent subsidies. Come up with a Section 8 program or a county program here in Los Angeles. Don't count on the federal government. They're not going to do it. But also there is, maybe you can tell me, Jennifer, there's something in LA where people don't like Section 8. Landlords don't like it. I don't know why. You know why?
Yes, because the rental voucher payment standards don't meet the rent amounts of the majority of the LA County.
Right.
And is that just county? Because I own apartments in a lot of other places and I don't have that problem. In fact,
I think it would be good to disclose being a landlord as part of this conversation earlier, but yes, in LA County, some of the majority of feedback from the Apartment Owners Association, the California Apartment Owners Association is that the rental amounts offered by Section 8 don't meet all areas of LA County and don't offer, especially in areas of opportunity and high areas of opportunity within Los Angeles.
Well, and so that's sort of, I guess, throwing the baby out
Okay,
with the bathwater.
point of order. We're going back and forth now. So we still have a few questions and we are over time at this point. Stephanie, last question from board.
Nope, sorry, that was just me making sure that we had enough time to go to the attendees. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we will go to attendees. We will go with the people that I have here. Oh, Emma, we see you. I will allow you to speak. We will give each member 1 minute. Emma, since you're with the city, I will give you 2 minutes, okay? I know you wanted to see if you come back and give a presentation again, so we might do a part 2 of this. So since you are from the city, we want to give you more time. So we could talk off to get that plan. I'll allow you to speak.
Hi, everybody. This is Emma Howard. I'm going to lower my hand now. Thank you for giving me some time to speak. I really would ask that Fran, if you're going to speculate about my boss, that we have an opportunity to discuss what he's done, because some of that information I think is really inaccurate.
That's why I put question marks on it, because I couldn't find anything about it. So
Please, point of order. Let's not go back and forth.
Fran, I'm on the clock, so if you interrupt my 2 minutes, can I have my 2 minutes restored, please?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Emma, I paused it. You're good.
Thank you. My name is Emma Howard. I'm the Director of Community Development and Planning for Councilmember Soto Martinez. I wanted to cover a couple points. First and most importantly, I think folks should know that the Hollywood Community Plan goes into effect at the same time as the CHIP ordinance and a very crucial ordinance called the Resident Protection Ordinance. The Resident Protection Ordinance is citywide and is it the first ordinance of its kind of intended to solve this issue where development is causing displacement. There's a lot of provisions in the Resident Protection Ordinance. It includes replacement ratios so that we don't lose RSO units. It includes much higher payouts to low-income tenants. So right now, if you're a low-income tenant and you get displaced due to development, you might get a maximum of $20,000. The estimates now show that it would be $75,000 to $100,000. That should hopefully create a deterrence effect on market rate displacement. There's a lot of other things I could talk about with RPO, but one thing I just want to note is when new development comes in for the Hollywood Community Plan and when new development comes in for the CHIP ordinance, that RPO will also be in effect. And that's really a truly revolutionary ordinance that I would love to come back and talk to everyone about. The council member was very supportive of it, and it solves a lot of concerns that he had with the community plan. The council member has been working on the Hollywood Community Plan since before he was a council member. He was a member of the Just Hollywood Coalition, which this neighborhood council wrote in support of. This plan has taken such a long time to get approved. I think it feels new to people, but it's had public hearings going back for years. And I do actually have record of some of the neighborhood council's position on it. So I'd be happy to share that with you. I did want to point out that linkage fee applies to units that are not affordable. So when you build an unaffordable unit or a market rate unit, that's where linkage fee applies. And so it's not an in lieu of a required on-site unit for TOC. It's in addition to the other units have to pay linkage. And that has generated funds for the development of affordable housing. And then I would also just note that the council member held the density down in Hollywood, the base density, so that we can work on the inclusionary program. And I'd be happy to come back and talk about inclusionary. East Hollywood was excluded from the CPIO. That's the ordinance that overlays the Hollywood Community Plan. And I think that might be me at time, so I don't want to use up too much time, but I do really want to come back and talk about a lot of these points. Fran and I do not completely have the same point of view about what these plans and ordinances will do. And I think some of that information we'd love to get you, how the city is sort of presenting it. And then that way you can see multiple points of view. So thank you.
Perfect. Yes, I agree with that. We will have a part 2 of this where you'll be able to do all of that, Emma, okay? So we'll be in communication through emails. All right? So thank you very much, Emma. With the city rep now having given a few minutes of her time, thank you, Emma. We will now go to RLA and everyone else, and we will give everyone else a minute. Okay? I'll allow you to speak.
Hi, yes, I have a question. Really interesting presentation. But you know, they just passed a rule now that where organizations, religious institutions can by right build on their properties, housing. And I guess I have a concern because the cult of Scientology is a massive landowner in this community. And I'm like they could, I guess, by right build so much housing to become like a Clearwater, Florida. Is there anything, can you speak on what that would mean with this plan and if that's true, and how that may look? And also I'd like to know, how do I get a list of any and all lobbyists for or against this plan? And are you a lobbyist? Thank you.
Thank you. We go on to the next person. Mo, you're allowed to talk for a minute.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Fran, for the presentation. I certainly appreciate it. I have my main question is, with the reduction of the public input with this plan, I did hear the city rep Emma say that it has been ongoing for a while. Has there been a reduction in HUD or ADAG requirements? And what about the accessibility? Because we know there's so much accessible housing that's still needed. It's not just affordable, but accessible. And if you're lessening from the public and public requirements, I'm worried that more and more accessible housing will be taken away. So that is my statement. Thank you. And my question.
Are you looking for a response? Or
This
I can't tell.
No, unfortunately, no. There is no. This since it's a minute only. Okay. Next person that will be able to speak. Rodney, I'll allow you to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
All right, my name's Rodney and I live in East Hollywood. I have no idea why we invited a landlord who doesn't live here to speak for us for an hour, but that felt like a huge waste of my time. We in East Hollywood are lucky enough to live in the heart of the second biggest city in the country with some of the best transit access in the city. And we're also in a huge housing and climate crisis with about 50% of the state's greenhouse gases coming from transportation. So East Hollywood's the exact place that should be focusing on building more housing and lowering barriers to new housing. The idea that it takes 5 to 7 years for a housing proposal to be approved is why housing's so expensive here. And people who feel so entitled to street parking on public property or protecting a mayor's supposedly architecturally significant home over housing is honestly disgraceful. And saying that Groman's Chinese theater might get destroyed for new housing is blatant fear mongering. New housing can be a huge benefit to our neighborhood, but we need to improve safety and security on the metro and improve bike infrastructure,
Thank you, Rodney.
not
That's
just 2
time.
miles.
Okay, we will go to Armine. I'll allow you to speak. You have a minute.
So what I want to understand is if this is so good for the community, why have these developments been being done all discreetly where no community input has been asked? That's all.
Thank you, Armine. We will now go to Nina. You are given a minute to speak. Oh, the hand went down. Okay, that's it for public comment. Thank you, Fran, for being here today. We will have a part 2 of this, so we will let everyone know when the part 2 of this will come from the city's perspective. We will be in talks. Hopefully, we could have it by next month, so we could have this continue because it's a very important topic. So we don't want it to end, and we want to hear all opinions. All right. So thank you very much, Fran, for being here. You could sign out. So thank you for giving us your time, and we hope to see you again for the next one.
May I just answer two things that were said? I am a paid
That's it,
lobbyist.
unfortunately.
Sorry?
That's it. Save it for next time. For next time, okay? Thank you. Okay, now I will share my screen. I need to get the agenda back up.
Are we done
We will
audit?
now go to, still not there. Okay. We will now go back up to community reports. Community reports are 2 minutes per person and 1 minute per Q&A. So if you are here to give a community report, please raise your hand. And for those of you that stayed, thank you for staying this long. I appreciate it. I know that went extra long than usual. Usually they're not like that, but there was a lot of information on that, so I wanted people to have time to digest that. So try to keep a tighter ship for the next one. I see one hand for community report. RLA, you're not a community report, so can you keep your hand down until they're done? Thank you. All right, Carla, allow you to speak.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I know Emma gave some updates there on the Hollywood Community Plan, but I just wanted to update on a few other items. I'll go through it fairly quickly. So we've received reports of fallen palm fronds in the community due to the strong winds the city faced a few weeks ago. So the Bureau of Street Services encourages community members to continue to report the fallen palm fronds through 311. However, street services and many other departments are stretched thin in response to recovery efforts in the Palisades. So our office will be working on supporting the department by utilizing our LA Conservation Corps team to address any fallen palm fronds in the area. So if you filed a 311 for fallen palm fronds and those have not been addressed, please reach out to our office for assistance on those. Our office also continues to receive reports of streetlight outages across the district. As the city as a whole is facing upticks in streetlight outages, we are working to address the lights in CD13 communities as quickly as possible. So at the end of 2024, our city council actually approved a delegation of discretionary funding to support the Bureau of Street lighting crews in CD13. So in addition to the initial $200,000 that was allocated for recent light repairs in the district, another $200,000 has been approved to fund overtime crews to repair and fortify lights in the district. So please send us any 311 reports that you do have for streetlight outages, especially if they are long stretches, so that we may elevate your request to BSL to expedite those requests. Another update I have is Council President Harris Dawson's announcement of the new committee assignments to City Council. So just to give information of where Councilmember Soto Martinez will sit. So Councilmember Soto Martinez will now be chair of the Civil Rights, Equity, Immigration, Aging, and Disability Committee, vice chair of the Economic Development and Jobs Committee. He will be sitting on the Public Safety Committee, sitting on the Rules, Elections, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, sitting on the Ad Hoc Committee in the 2028 Olympics and Paralympic Games. And lastly, we also have a role in the newly formed Special Committee on LA Recovery, which will lead the city's efforts to ensure a just recovery for all families impacted by the recent tragedy of the Palisades fire. As part of this committee, we'll focus on incorporating resilience into our rebuilding efforts to prevent future disasters, coordinating across the city, county, state, and federal agencies to maximize support, and standing up for the affected workers and communities. And my final update is on the homelessness count and the updated dates for that, because it did get rescheduled because of the fires. So the new dates for the homelessness count will be February 18th through the 20th. So the annual homelessness count helps secure the local, state, and federal resources LA needs to address homelessness compassionately and sustainably. An accurate count is key for funding the programs and services that bring people off the streets, especially considering that it had to be rescheduled because of the fires. So this effort depends on community volunteers. Even one night of your time can make a huge difference. So you can sign up for this count at count.lhasa, which is LAHSA.org, to help, and all available locations to volunteer can be found at that link. And I actually do have one more update because I know this item came up. So for the planters along Fountain and L. Ron Hubbard Way, so those have been reported to Bureau of Street Services. I touched base with their investigators assigned to the case, and they informed me that due to the noncompliance to the citations and orders given to the parties involved, this case has been referred to the city attorney's office, and the hearing for this is scheduled for mid-February. And as it is a legal matter, the information available to the council office is limited, but BSS will be providing updates as they become available, and we will provide those updates to the community when we receive them. And that's it for my updates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carla. In that case, can you send us all this just in case, keep us posted and send us all this information?
Yeah, definitely. I could send over the report.
Perfect. You may have already sent it to me once. Do it again, just in case.
Okay, great.
All right. All right. Do we have any questions? I saw a hand from a panel. No? Okay. 1 minute, Coulter. Go ahead.
I'll be quicker than that. So Carla, Hugo Soto Martinez is no longer on the Personnel and Hiring Committee. Is that correct?
That should be correct. Yeah, the assignments did change.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah, the ones I updated on are the most recent updates.
Gotcha. Okay, and then we've been having a lot of people reach out about trash cans overflowing and not getting picked up. I think there were some delays on getting some of those picked up by sanitation. Do you have any updates on that process?
Yeah, can you confirm with me, Coulter, if the location on Santa Monica that you flagged got picked up? Because we did send that over to our LA conservation crews, but I don't know if they addressed it yet. Can you confirm with me?
Yeah, I'll check in.
Okay, yeah. So if there are chronic locations for trash that isn't being abated, feel free to flag those to our office. That way we could send those over to LA Sanitation. If it's one-off cases, we could still flag those to LA Sanitation, but because all departments are pretty stretched thin right now, we also have our LA Conservation Corps that can help supplement some of those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Doug?
Yeah, two things. One, on the trash issue, there used to be city trash containers along Western Avenue. Those were removed about a year ago. I don't understand why. And so it's created a huge mess all along Western. The second thing is graffiti. It's just totally out of control in my neighborhood and throughout Hollywood and East Hollywood. The beautification team will not go above the first floor. The vandals know this. And so they're going above the first floor. No businesses are being held accountable. Building and safety won't even take a complaint about a business that doesn't clean up its graffiti. In the past, it used to be discretionary funds put towards professional graffiti removal services that would address this. The Office of Community Beautification has had its staff reduced. And so they're even reducing the amount of paint that they distribute to people like myself who go out every day and paint over the graffiti when the city is incapable of doing that. So how can we have more resources put towards that? And as Coulter said, the trash issue and the trash issue along Western Avenue. And I'll point out in particular for both Sunset and Western, for over a year now at the corner, the northeast corner, where the Walgreens is, there's been graffiti all over that building. The property owner, Holly Community Housing Corporation, does nothing to abate it. The city does nothing. And at the off ramps and on ramps for Santa Monica Boulevard and the 101, there's massive graffiti everywhere, and I can't get the city to do anything about it because they don't have the resources. Our beautification team cannot address it. So can your office address it?
Yeah, so to your first point on the trash cans along Western, if you could specify where exactly those were that got taken away, I could follow up with LA Sanitation to see why they were removed and if there's opportunity to get them reinstalled once again.
From Melrose all the way to Franklin.
Okay. And for the graffiti, so yes, Office of Community Beautification has been stretched very thin as well. That is another option that we can explore. I could bring that up to my directors to lobby for that, for more support on that front for graffiti abatement. So that's something I could follow up on as well.
Okay, now we go to Audit LA. So I'll ask you to unmute a minute. Uh, Go
All
ahead.
right. Yes, thank you, Carla, for that much awaited update. Because I was about to roast your boss being the head of civil rights if he's ignoring the ADA community. But I want to know when the case is going to court because I want to be there. And I also want to know because they hired Bill Delvac to lobby for them for L. Ron Hubbard Way to vacation it. And I'm hoping that the councilman will take a stand against that because it is a thoroughfare to hospitals. That is a heavily hospital area, heavy hospital area. We live, and I also that, and I want to know about that. And also, they're redlined and no parking. There is not a piece of paper in existence in that city that I could find, and I've checked everywhere that red no parking zone is legal. It's not. It's from like the 90s and but the city is still enforcing no parking there. And unless you can prove to me or some entity can prove to me that that is the actual red zone, that needs to be removed too. And I'm going to keep pushing until they are abiding by the law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I could answer to that. So I'll double check on the date and update you on that. I believe I have your email. So I'll send that over to you once I lock in that date for the hearing. And also for the no parking zone. So that's something that our office is actually looking into. Our transportation team is working with LADOT to look into that street specifically because of the no parking signs. And there was the other point. Can you remind me again what the other point was?
Oh, let me go ahead. Does anyone on the board remember the other point? So, or if not,
Hearing date, I think she wanted
a
the
hearing date. Okay.
Yeah, so the hearing date and then the no parking signage that our office is looking into.
Okay. Mo, I'll allow you to talk. Got a minute?
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you very much, Carla, for the information. I too was talking about the planters and the street permits, and the third item was the street vacation about the lobbyist that is working, Mr. Delvec, that's working with Mr. Hugo on the street vacation. And yes, I am very interested in that, and I will wait for that information. I'll possibly get it through Audit LA or through the neighborhood office here. So thank you.
Yeah, and onto to the street vacation. I wish Emma was on here, but I know that's something that our office was looking into as well. We're not necessarily our office. This is not an official stand, but in terms of street vacations, that's something that our office isn't fully in support of. But I would defer to Emma for more information on that. But that's kind of the update we have there for that one.
Okay. Thank you very much, Carla, for all of that information and for more. So yes, if you could just send us what you just told us, we would appreciate it. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, with that,
This meeting is being recorded.
We will now go on to other community reports. Do we have anyone here, anyone else from community reports? Jose, okay, welcome, welcome. I'll allow you to speak. Go ahead.
Hi. Hey, good evening. Thank you. I'm Jose Galdames with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, the Neighborhood Empowerment Advocate for East Hollywood Neighborhood Council. Got a couple updates for the board. First, just want to inform the board that the department recently conducted a required migration to a new website domain in compliance with the City of Los Angeles requirements in response to the LA City Council Motion 21-1255, the digital monetization of cities' online presence. The City of Los Angeles is now requiring that the City of Los Angeles websites fall under lacity.gov domain to comply with this motion. Empowerly.org migrated to its new site, which is neighborhoodempowerment.lacity.gov, which did affect some of the sub pages, but the department has been working to make sure to reroute and forward those pages to the new domain, so it does not continue to affect any of the hyperlinks that neighbor councils might have saved. And if it does, I think for the most part, it's just to change the empowerly.org to neighborhoodempowerment.lac.gov with the same / address. And it'll continue to direct you to the page. All pages are still active. It's just a matter of going back to the actual new domain page. But the main sites, like empowerly.org, pages that were made sure to be redirected is the empowerly.org, empowerly.org/elections, the empowerly.org/department, empowerly.org councils, the empowerly.org/board members, and also the 99ncs.com link that they all get redirected to the new domain page, which is the neighborhoodempowerment.lacd.gov. Please make sure to update your links if you have any links that connect towards the empowerly.org, just to make sure that they're not affected in the future. But in the end, all the sub pages on empowerly.org, the department's still working and making sure that they all forward to the new domain. Also, in regards to candidate filing for the East Hollywood elections, so the city clerk has extended by 7 days due to the wildfires that have been affected for all neighbor councils candidate filing by 7 days. So the candidate filing deadline for Region 5 would be February 3rd, and let me see, by 11:59 p.m. So again, for board members that are considering rerunning, or stakeholders that are interested in running for the board, please make sure to submit your applications by going to the clerk's website under the clerk.lacd.gov under neighbor council elections. Please be sure to run through the portal for one of the seats. Or you can also fill out, there are people applications available. They're also available in different languages on the clerk's website for you to be able to download, insert like your information, because they're all fillable, the PDFs. And then you can just email them back along with the required documentation in order to prove their eligibility for the seat. And once the city clerk would then take in the information, upload that into the site to show candidates that filed, and also if they're still pending or certified under the candidate statements pages for the seats that they've chosen to run for the neighborhood council. So again, just be sure to fill in your application by the February 3rd. Again, that doesn't mean that you have to submit your documentations that same day. You just have to file your application by that date. The deadline to submit documentation is on Thursday, February 6th. So 3 days after the application deadline. So again, if you have any questions, also feel free to reach out to me or to the city clerk's office elections division. They will be also to assist you. You would give them a call by calling the 213-978-0444 number in order to connect with the city clerk's election divisions, who are able to answer any questions you may have regarding neighborhood council elections, the process for candidate filing, or simply also for OPAM as well. So please keep in mind those. Also, the other updates is just informing the neighbor councils regarding emergency funds. As there was a declared emergency due to the wildfires, neighbor councils are able to use the emergency funds of up to no less than $1,000 at the president's discretion, which is to provide funds for organizations that are providing support to those that have been affected by the wildfires, or provide supplies and stuff to first responders and such as well during emergency, declared emergencies. And those would then be approved at the following meeting by the board for those emergency expenses. And if you have any questions, please let me know, or feel free to reach out regarding emergency funds as well to your Ehnc funding as well, which I believe is Ana Cardosa from the Ehnc funding program.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. Any questions for Jose from the board or from? Okay. All right then. Thank you very much, Jose, for being here. And if you would hang around, thank you just for being here. With that, we would go to any more community members, any more community reports from the fire department, officers, or budget advocates, anything? Okay. I'm not seeing any more hands. We will now go back to community voices, Thai CDC update, anyone from Thai CDC? Seeing none. Jeff, anything for the East Hollywood bid? Jeff?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, East Hollywood bid. I don't know if you've all seen, but we are redoing all of our medians we're planting the missing trees. We took out all the old plants that were in there, putting in new soil, and we're putting in boxwood bushes in all the planters. I don't know if you've seen all those. We've also replaced about 6 trees that were missing from the tree wells, and we removed also 4 stumps that people had cut down trees. We removed the old stumps and put the new trees in there as well. So a lot of new exciting things happening in the bid. We're still waiting for our permit to put in the string lights that go overhead, those string lights that you see up in Los Feliz. I don't know why it's taking so long, but we paid for it, but still haven't got permission yet. So that's about it with the updates for the East Hollywood bid.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I see 2 hands up. It's going to be a minute each. Please keep it to questions pertaining to the East Hollywood bid, by the way. If it's not considering East Hollywood bid, I will mute you. Mo, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez. In the last East Hollywood bid meeting, we had talked with the representative, with the mayor's rep, and they were discussing the relationship between the East Hollywood bid and the Church of Scientology, the cult of Scientology. And I'm wondering how, if that was questioned, if there was any result from that. And I would like to have some answers from Jeff. So thank you very much for giving me the time to ask that question.
Okay. Jeff?
All property owners that have property within this district are eligible to be on the board, and they are automatically members of the bid. That's just law. So.
Okay. We will now go to Aude LA. You're allowed to speak. It will be a minute, and it has to pertain to the East Hollywood bid, please. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a conflict of interest concern as well with Susan Furio. She is on the East Hollywood bid, and as we just heard tonight from Hugo's office, that location, where she represents, is being taken to court because they are breaking federal ADA laws. I believe there's a conflict of interest. They also just recently registered, okay, as lobbyists. So is it okay for her to be on the bid and be a lobbyist sitting on the bid? I have the same question for LAPD tomorrow with their CPAPs. I think there's a conflict of interest. I think it stinks to high heaven. I think she needs to step down until all this is cleared up. And I'd like an answer to that. Thank you. Oh, and also you said you talked to Janet about these planters. You said that yourself. It was the state representative, and you said you did talk to her. And I would like to know what she said about it, because and I'd like to CPRA that.
I didn't hear a question.
Okay, thank you.
Chris. I didn't hear a question, Chris.
Of course not.
We will move on then. We will go to consent agenda, action items. We will go to motion approval of December 2024 minutes, and B, accept Catherine Lundy's resignation for the Chnc Governing Board and the Chnc Immigrants' Rights Committee. Do we have any people that reject that from the board? Doug?
Yeah, maybe it's just the way the agenda is set up with the website, but when I click on the prompt for the minutes, what I get is, instead of the minutes, I get the agenda for December. So I didn't see any minutes.
Oh, you're right. Oh, no. Yeah, I apologize for that.
I'm glad I'm not the only one then.
Well, but it says minutes on the PDF though.
But it's the agenda. It's not the minutes.
No, it is the minutes. It has roll call, 8 present, 5 absent. It has the information recorded.
What I saw was just the agenda.
No, if other board members can double check that, it seems like it is the minutes. But I could take it out anyway, so we could vote on it separately.
Yeah, I'll have to abstain if that's the issue. If for some reason I'm not accessing it properly.
Yeah, I'm seeing the minutes.
Are you seeing the minutes, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, either way, he has to abstain, so we have to take it out of order. So we'll have to vote on it separately. As for the rest, let's all vote. Jack? We were voting on consent agenda item B.
All right, consent agenda item B. There are motions and seconds for this or not, because it's.
I move.
A
second.
Okay. Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yep.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
For the consent agenda B, yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Right, GM
Mike.
Flower? No, I didn't hear a thing.
Yes.
Didn't hear a thing.
Mike?
I see him, he's muted. Test, yes.
Jack, yes. Vicky.
I do not see Vicky.
Oh, she must have dropped off then. Okay, Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Okay. Now we go to the minutes separately. Motion approval December 2024 minutes. I move. Do we have a second? Okay.
Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Abstain, sorry.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack, yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Okay, so because we have some budget and finance action items, so let's see if we could go quickly. For example, action item E, update on Zoom logins for everyone here quickly. Thanks to Stephanie's efforts, we managed to change the Zoom logins for everyone. So now everyone can try to go in for the Zoom login and all of you will see the code, especially specifically for chairs. As for the passwords and the username, I will put it in the master list so people could take a look, or you could text me so you could get the password if you want it that way too. So I'll be putting that tonight or tomorrow for the master list for the update on the Zoom login.
Chris,
Jennifer?
I'm sorry, never mind.
Oh,
Oh, I
sorry.
just wanted to make sure that my attendance was recorded because I don't think I was called for the vote.
Yeah,
Oh,
apologies.
I got added to panelists late.
Gotcha.
Oh,
I thought
apologies.
That's fine. I'll make the adjustment. I thought it was Stephanie and Vicky that came late. It was Stephanie and Jennifer.
Chris, just to make sure I'm following. So now what'll happen if you're a chair and you're looking to hold your committee and it makes you do like the secondary like security verification, it'll go to the whole EHNC like we'll get everyone on the governing board will get the email. Okay. Has it been tested or do we need to test it?
I tested it the first time and Coulter tested it today. You should have seen it today for the governing board.
Did not get that email.
It worked on my end.
Interesting. Like it should just be coming from Zoom, right?
Yes.
I did not get those. Did other people get that email?
It's this one right here. It's Zoom via EHC board.
Yeah, I did not get that.
I'll check. 1 sec.
Let me see. Are you on the list? You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says you are here. It'll say Zoom via EHC board.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't get that email. Did other people? Did anyone else not get?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I didn't get. I'm not seeing it either. Actually, now that I'm sifting.
Yeah, that's weird because, yeah, Chris, like we're on that list, so we should be getting it. That's so weird.
What is the thing I'm looking for again? Sorry.
Zoom via EHC board. You're looking for the code for signing into Zoom.
Like this email that Chris is sharing because
yes, I'm showing you on the screen.
Got spammed for me.
Wait, went to spam for you?
Yeah, I went to spam for me.
Okay.
I got it.
So, yeah,
yes. Thank you, Josh. Okay, report not spam. All right.
Okay. Is everyone else good on this? Did everyone else get this too? And check your spam just in case.
I got it. Thank you so much, Chris, for fixing this. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, this is actually better since we can't get rid of the OTP. Well, might as well do this.
Bother you every single day we have a committee hearing.
Yes, this works perfectly for all of us.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. All right. With that, we're going to go to clarification on elections and positions. I know some of you had issues about this, so quickly just to tackle this. These are the positions that are up. What we saw on the website was outdated. I don't think they fixed it because these are the correct. This is how it's supposed to be. So I know, like, for example, Jillian thought she was up. She's not up. So it would be Vicky in that turn. So, but these are all the positions. The reason why you see the at-large is all together is because we did almost like all at-larges. So the top 3 go-getters for votes will be the ones that get picked for these at-larges. So we just put them all together. So the top 3 people with the most votes will be the ones that get these seats. So that's how that is. Any questions on that? Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to confirm because I got confused by Coulter's email. It does look, I'm on the NC election page right now, and it does look like they match with what you've pulled up. So I don't know what it was showing before, but I believe what the NC election website page is showing now is accurate.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Then we will now go to budget and finance items.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead,
Hi.
James.
Yeah, do you want to give me share?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I'll go through this quickly. Because I know we've been here for a while. Let me get this going here. Sorry, one sec. Okay. There's that. Okay. Is this the right one? Let's see. 2025 127, I think it is. Okay. We see the window, yes?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Here is the December monthly expense report. We started with 26, we left with 1850. We did our usual payments, and we paid Vanessa after a very long time, and we paid out our NPGs. So that is that. There's still some outstanding checks that have to be deposited, but that's it.
Okay. I move.
Oh, Chris, got it. All right. I'll second. Is there any public comment on the monthly expense report? Please raise your hand.
This is Doug real quick on the payment of the webmaster, the 2,800.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of old checks because I didn't pay her for the whole fiscal year.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you can click on it, and it has the detail.
I didn't see a way to.
It's not on the MER, it's in the payment portal. I don't know actually if there's a way for board members to see it. It was on the previous one where we voted to approve it.
There's a separate item E that does have an invoice for $500 and something.
Yeah, that's January.
Yeah, so I didn't see how the 2,800 broke down. That's all.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's the MER. Is there any more comment?
There is a hand.
Yeah. Audit LA. Please, pertaining to the MER, please.
Yes, I would like to know who didn't get paid for a whole year and why that would happen.
My webmaster, Wendy, because I work full time. I am doing my thesis and I want to kill myself.
Okay, well, that's okay. I mean,
I'm also resigning at the end of this meeting. Are there any further questions on this topic, Audit LA?
You know what? Yeah, I have a lot of more questions now. I just asked a question why someone didn't get paid for a year. Everyone wants to get paid. It wasn't towards you directly, and I hope you do well, and I wish you well, but that's not the way to answer a question to a stakeholder.
Yeah. Thank you for your concerns.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a roll call vote.
Whoa.
All right, Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Shit.
Yes, sir.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack, yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
MER passes.
Jillian, do you want to pitch these or do you want me to?
I can do it.
All right.
All been
Let her rip.
previously approved. We just needed to update them so that they are in the current fiscal year. And we seem to have worked out a system whereby it appears as though the artists will be able to potentially get paid before they perform the work, which is great news. So this is sort of the happy result of a long kerfuffle involving the Office of Finance. But so we can just everyone's seen these before. They were previously approved. We're just updating the approval for this fiscal year.
Okay. I move.
I second.
Any comment on this? No? Okay, let's take it to a vote.
All right, Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes. Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Are we doing B and C together?
No, let's approve these one at a time.
Okay, so B, no.
B, no. Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack, yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Beautiful. Numero C. Jillian?
Same situation as the last one. Previously approved, just updating for the fiscal year.
I move. Do we have a second?
Are you seconding, Mike, or do you have a comment?
I just had can you remind me where we stand in terms of getting like the protective coating over these so that they potentially last longer?
1 sec. I'm going to second. Now we're going to move into comment, and now there's Mike's comment, and now I don't know. What's the story with the protective coating? I have no idea.
I would just hate to see like just get
Presently
like graffiti.
protective. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying I would hate to see this, such a nice design get vandalized, and then we only get to enjoy it for as long as that takes.
Yeah, I know there's that like special paints or whatever that other paint like slides off, so some kind of Teflon spray or something. I don't know. I don't know if that was ever a thing.
We're dealing with, super limited budgets here. And the onus is on the individual artist. Now the Department of Transportation won't even prime boxes. So we have to have these individuals prime their own boxes, which LADOT used to do. All that to say, arts and culture can look into if there's, we're just sort of trying to see through this previous box round of utility box murals. And once they are done, I'd be happy as we prepare for the next round. There will be a baton pass to Rosie, hopefully, can help oversee the program. And then we could look into, now that we have a better pathway to the Office of Finance, hopefully we could set it up so that we have a higher threshold so that we're equipping artists with the supplies that they need to do a protective coating. But right now we're pretty limited with what we can do. I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Same comment from Audit LA.
Go ahead. You have a minute.
Yeah, I'm very concerned because your person just said he wants to kill himself, and then you're going on with business as usual as if he didn't say that. I need to know, is he joking? Is he serious? Because seriously, you have that is extremely upsetting to hear, because actually I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to him, you, or anyone. And it's just mind-boggling to me that you just skipped over that and we're talking about this. Is he okay? Does he need intervention? Does he need to take a break? Whatever. Seriously, you can't drop a bomb like that and just move on. What is wrong with you? Not you, the person who said it, but the rest of you for just skipping over it and acting like he didn't say that.
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. I mean, that's I am very concerned for his well-being. Seriously, legit. All nothing aside. I am serious. I am concerned for his well-being. I've known people who have done that to themselves. And you just go pick up as if you didn't even hear it. I heard it. And I hope it's not a real threat. I hope you were just Blowing
Okay,
steam.
that's time. Thank you for your comment. Audit LA is much appreciated. All right. Do I get a vote on this?
Do it, Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Jillian.
Yeah.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
No.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack. Yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I love that. And I love the art on this. God help the artist getting those gradients. We did that on a set once and it was a nightmare. Okay. Now we have item number D. We have to approve the rehiring of our web developer for this fiscal year. This has been kind of brewing for a while. This is really city clerk business. They need a BAC approving us hiring this vendor as our vendor. There's a lot of vending going on.
Move to approve.
I will second.
Okay, we have one comment. Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate that we really should be able to post our own agendas on our page. It really takes very little time to do, and much of the other things that we need to take over Wendy's job are just like pay bills. I'd like to see us take more responsibility in this next year so that we can use that budget to do other things, like maybe working with LECC for like interns that are looking for opportunities and just getting more creative with our creative. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful note. Okay, can we get a roll call vote on this?
Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
No.
Jennifer. Jennifer. We lost Jennifer.
Yes, if she's speaking. Jennifer, you're muted if you're. Okay, come back to her.
All right, Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
No. No.
Jack. I don't know. Rosie.
Yeah.
Josh.
No.
It passes. Jennifer, are you there though?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, motion passes.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Here's another contentious topic. I have to pay Wendy for January. I probably don't have to do these because it's listed on the budget, but I've had so many issues paying mundane bills that I want to generate a BAC for it just in case. Here it is. An invoice for 560 smackers. That's about it. I will motion to approve.
Do we have a second? I will second then. Also, you have a comment by Jose.
Yeah, Jose, what's up?
Let me promote.
Good to see you, Jose.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Jose Galamis, Neighborhood Department. I just want to bring to your attention for the board that in your agenda, it's really vague. You're not really stating the amount that's being approved on the agenda itself. Like I'm just suggesting to the board that for those items to be postponed to the next meeting and then to agendize it with the total amounts that the board is going to be approving so that anyone that reads the agenda, knows, understands what exactly is going to be approved in the total amount of it for the reimbursements and the invoices.
Yeah, I agree that I should have put the numbers on the agenda. I would like to generate BACs for these anyways.
For the webmaster invoice, since it's part of your ongoing operational expense, that one doesn't really need to get reapproved since it's part of your ongoing expenditures. That's part of the admin packet BAC part that gets approved.
Yes.
But in regards to the other invoices and reimbursements, again, the language in the agenda is vague and it doesn't provide a total amount of what it's being reimbursed or being expended by the board.
Is this a suggestion, or are you telling me I cannot create BACs for this on a board vote right now?
I'm making the recommendation to the board to postpone.
Okay, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
it is possible that they will deny it, but I'm going to try running it through.
Yeah, I just want to say that I agree with you, James. If we click on that, you can see the reimbursement amount, right?
Yeah, I'm aware that you're supposed to put the total value on the agenda. My apologies for that oversight, and this may be rejected by the clerk, but it's only a minute to run the roll call vote, so I would like to try.
And if it makes anyone feel better, I could put the amount in the minutes.
Yeah, it's not the minutes, it's the agenda itself because you're notifying to the public what exactly
To make me feel better, the minutes will be public eventually too. So.
Can we call the question, please? Let's move it.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Abstain.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack. Yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right. We're on F. I'm sorry, folks. We're almost through here. If you want to punt these to next one, we can. Do you want to? If you want to.
Do it, James. Do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're in a groove. Let's roll.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. We have a Print Depot invoice. This is kind of old. It got lost or something. This was for something. What was this for? Anyways, it's not a whole lot of money. Hello? There we are. This was for what? I don't know. What was this for again, Coulter?
This was for the we had approved $500 to advertise Porch Fest, and that went towards printing costs to
Great.
print
And
flyers.
Porch Fest was very cool. This was for Porch Fest. We love Porch Fest. We support Porch Fest. I move.
I second.
Is there any public comment? No.
Christopher.
Yeah, Jack. Oh, yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Abstain.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack. Yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ooh, Josh with the zesty yes. Thank you so much. Moving on, we owe Josh some money for the community cleanup expenses. The expenses were previously approved in advance. You can look at the spreadsheet if you so desire. And the things were purchased, and the community cleanup was conducted with aplomb. It was a wonderful thing. And it's for, let's see. Now, 7510 Is it the same as on the spreadsheet? Spreadsheet's a little different.
I think it might be slightly
I
more
think
because
it's,
it's
yes, 7510 plus 304. So 309.45 or 379.45.
Okay,
I move to approve this reimbursement.
All right, I second.
One quick question. These are all on the, this is gonna be a G1, G2, and G3, 3 separates, correct?
I think this is just one. Let me see. How's the agenda laid out? No, this is G1. This is all G1.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Oh, no, actually, no. We can do all these Gs at once. Let's just pass all these Gs at once. All right. We have G1, G2, and G3. Very smart. Yeah.
Just a point of order. This is Doug. I want to get Department of Neighborhood Empowerment a voice in that because on financial matters, you usually have to vote individually on each invoice.
Now, I thought so too, but in fact, I was told by Anna that this is not the case. So in the future, we can jam all this mundane stuff into the consent agenda. Coulter?
Yeah, I was just going to back you up on that. We went back and forth with Ann on this a lot to confirm this, and we definitely can.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's not the way we've been doing it since.
I am aware that it's not the way I was trained either, but apparently times change.
Times they are changing.
All right, so then we have Coulter's reimbursement. This is pretty old.
That's Timothy
124.
South.
Is it who?
Sorry,
Hello?
sorry, keep going.
Are you talking to somebody else? You bad boy. All right, and then we owe Mike. He fronted us some money to pay GoDaddy. 5034. So I move to approve these reimbursements.
I second.
All right. Christopher.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Sir.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Abstain.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack. Yes. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you. If you see these, if you see these things reappearing next month, I'm sorry. It's literally my fault. But I won't be here to commiserate with you. Ha ha ha. Because we are approving the new admin packet, where the only difference is that I have been replaced with Mike. No? Yeah. There are no signatures on it because it's not signed. I figure we're going to approve this, and then I'm going to put all that old biz through so we can start Mike with the tabula rasa, and that'll be it. You will have a new treasurer until he gets bored of it, or I finish my thesis and take it back if he wants to give it to me. That is it. It will be around May. I move.
I second.
Okay.
All right.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jack. Yes. Rosie. Rosie.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Bravo. All right. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Bravo to the board.
Screen. All right, we got a minute per committee reports, arts and culture.
We did not meet this month. We're kind of in a holding pattern around the mural at 7-Eleven and getting all of our T's crossed and I's dotted around the outstanding utility box murals, and then we will move forward next month. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Budget and finance. We just went over it, right, James? All right.
We sure did.
And again, thanks, James, for everything.
Thank you.
All right. Business.
Our next meeting is let's see,
Feb
the
4th?
4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 4th. We have a couple of things we might go over. One, some stuff related to building and safety issues from some of the residents. We might look at some other cannabis related stuff as well.
Okay. Bylaws. The bylaws are right here. Take a look. If you guys have anything else that we should talk about, let me know and we'll do some stuff on them. All right. Executive committee. You're looking at our fine work here. The next executive committee will be on the 12th, which is coming up shortly. So just keep your eyes peeled for that call for items. Homelessness and displacement. Mike?
Yeah, we did not meet this week with this month, rather, with the holiday, but we'll be having our kickoff for the year in about 2 weeks.
Okay. Immigrants' right?
So we did lose a member this past month, and so we are on the hunt for more people interested in pushing forward in this space. Given everything that's going on, if you have an ear to the ground, anybody in those areas, please send them my way.
Okay.
We can't meet without anybody, right? Essentially.
Yeah, no, we'll talk offline about that, Mike. Okay?
Okay. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I'll
Yep.
give you a call. We'll talk about that. See what we
Awesome.
do. All right. Outreach.
We met last month. We had sort of an emergency meeting to go through the election planning stuff. So far, I'll say we've been pretty successful. I want to thank Mike and Rosie so much for all their amazing work on this, and a special shout out to Rosie for making that election video, which has been incredible and probably the best piece of election recruiting social media content in the city right now. So. Want to thank her a lot for doing that, and Mike for everything he did, just getting the post set up and advertised as well. I'm really, really excited for outreach right now. We got a really cool crew going on. I am worried about a couple things on our election outreach plan. I'm going to see if we can meet in February to go through how to get people signed up to actually vote in the election. I think the people can start voting signing up to vote as of like February 18th. So I'm sure we're gonna have a meeting at some point in the next however many weeks here to go through that plan as well.
Okay. Planning and land use.
I did not meet. We tried to meet this month, but we had login issues.
Yes.
Luckily, our presenter is interested in coming back next month, so our next meeting will be Monday, February 10th.
Great. Public health, safety, and sustainability.
Yeah, we did not meet in January for a variety of reasons. We will meet in February. I'll be sending out that call for agenda items tomorrow. That will be the first Thursday.
Perfect. Youth and education.
We didn't meet this month, but we're going to meet next month.
Great. All right. Just remind everybody, make sure you're in at least one committee. So please, at least one committee. It is your due diligence. It is on our bylaws. So at least one committee. Okay. We go to announcements. I'll skip a few. Update on Produce Box. We have sent a new proposal to CHLA. I believe we're awaiting what's going on. Coulter?
Yeah, I've updated it and sent it over to them, so hopefully we get the ball rolling on that. I mean, we'll see what they come back and say in terms of what they're willing to do and what the timeline is. I put some new dates on there. I think at least theoretically the first one I want to say would be like March 2nd. In theory, for us to do it again. I do want to let everyone know that what CHLA wanted to do was they wanted to standardize what food we give out to people and then use bags instead of boxes. And so I had to Control F boxes and box and change it all to bags in there. But what was interesting about it is that the amount of food that we're going to be giving out to people now is probably going to be a lot less per person. But the cost of one of these bags before the produce box was like $35 per. That's going to go all the way down to 15 now. So that's partly because we're using bags instead of boxes, but mainly we're just giving people a lot less food. I have very mixed feelings about this choice going forward, but it does mean we can theoretically give out more bags. In fact, we can now give out so many bags that I am wondering if we should be having more events as an alternative. But Chris and I discussed it briefly, and we're just going to see how the first few events go first, and then decide if we're going to hand out more, because we're just going to have so many bags. I'm worried that we're going to have way too many to give out to people, and then we're going to have to be dealing with that. So maybe we should just be spreading it out. Anyway, we'll figure that out when we get further along the process, but that's where things stand as of now. So we're just waiting to hear back from CHLA.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next up is next board meeting is on the 17th, February 17th. So keep your days open, keep your calendars ready. So mark it on your calendars as the next board meeting, and executive meeting will be on the 12th. On SB 411, I've been hearing some things I need to do a little bit more digging in, but I heard that SB 401 might be having some issues for renewal this year. I'm not very sure. Jose, we might talk about this a little later. If anyone in the board got some things on this, I don't know. Jose, I see your hand up. Maybe you could clarify it for me quickly.
Yeah. So SB 411 on at the end of 2025. So the only way to extend it would be through legislative action. But right now, don't have any other updates on regards to the status.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jose. With that, my update, election information again, reminder, the deadline for candidates is February 3rd. And if you want to add your picture or your personal statement, it's on Feb 6th. So keep an eye out for that. And again, thank you everybody for being here. Welcome back. A new day, first day for the year. So yeah, thank you everybody for being here. And again, thank you, James, for being treasurer. Appreciate it. Now for budget advocates, we need one more member. So keep a lookout. I'll be bothering people for that. And with that, I go to adjourn this meeting at 9:29 p.m. Everybody.
Rosie
So
had
have
a
a good
question.
night.
Rosie had a
Oh,
thing.
Rosie?
I was gonna ask, I think the next meeting's on the 18th, because I think the 17th is President's Day.
Let me check. Oh no, more holidays.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that happens every year.
All right.
Also,
we'll get it on the 18th, and it might be full Zoom in that case, because I'll check with Hollywood Hotel, because that's what happened this time around. So, and let me guess. I'm guessing also the count is also on the
exactly.
Yeah. So it will be another situation like this one, essentially. We would have to move it. So I will be pestering everyone through text and email on dates for February then. Until then. So keep a lookout. Most likely it will be on the 24th then.
Okay, you guys. It's 6:30 in the morning there. Nice and bright, sun shining. Yep, it is 12:30. LAPD commissions at 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. Yep, 12 hours from now. I'm going to get a few hours of sleep before my good morning sunshine starts. I'm going to sign off. It's been a long one. That was a crazy meeting. Shake my head, shake my head. Hey T, good afternoon to you. It was an audit. I am so sorry that he had to answer you in that way. That was very disturbing for you. I can do a quick recap on, we had 2 neighborhood council meetings tonight. We had the Central Hollywood in which we gave public comment on that, but it was a very long intro. They had quite a bit of information. And so we flopped back over to the East Hollywood committee meeting. We did public comment. Then we got to comment on their neighborhood or their architectural design. And then we wanted to talk about the bid, so we gave public comment about the bid. Also, the representative for Hugo's office came on. They told us that they knew that we were going to be talking about the planters and the street vacation. And we also asked questions about that, and that it is already to the city attorneys, and they are having a hearing about the planters coming up mid-February. And so we're supposed to get a hold of her so that way we can find out when the date is. Yeah, they ignored us all over the place tonight. But that's okay. We got our jolts in, we got our jousts in. We did it. I'm sorry, I'm tired, you guys. My words are escaping me. So that's kind of the summary, is that we found out, and Audit gave him the good 1-2 about Hugo's office and Delvac, the lobbyist that they've hired for the street vacation. They were all not happy that we were there tonight. But that's okay. We're just going to continue on with LAPD and with Public Works, because until those are moved, they're not moved. Rightio, rightio. That's my Scottish voice. It's a court hearing, T. Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, and then this guy, Audit, asked a question about the budget, and he's like, well, I'm just going to kill myself anyways. I'm resigning tonight. I was like, what the hell? And then they all went about their business like he didn't say nothing. You sleep tight. Yeah, I'm not sleeping tight. I know I don't hardly ever drink, but I could use one. Where's Haggis when I need a drink? I think she said legal matter. But they'll probably have a court hearing about it to make it specific and make them, it's part of the process, and then they'll either fine them. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Okay. I think I am going to get some shut-eye. Love you guys. I'll see you in a few hours.